broken. You took my heart, it's already broken. You don't. I can take the pain. I will surrender. Let me go.
What's up, chats? How's it going, everybody? It's Wednesday. We're getting wacky, wactical. How's that? What's up? Nice to see everyone in chat. Let's do Trevi Radio. Oh my God, it's happening! It's happening! Woo! What's up, everybody? It's Dataslate Day. And what a Dataslate it is, chat. Pretty wild over here. Heads up, Grotsmas Detachment Dataslate is separate. Yeah, of course. Hitchhiking for a new army. Think demons will pick you up? Maybe. New demons index is pretty neat. I'm excited to talk about it. We have a lot of changes to go through. Changes to Grotsmas detachments, brand new detachments, fucking out of nowhere. What is that's wild? Obviously Dataslate updates, Munitorum field manual updates, fucking everything. What Eldar buffs? You get to have transports, chat. Basically redefines the faction. I apologize, folks. I'm gonna eat a Cliff Bar. So I was up at, to preface this live stream, I was up at about 2 a.m. my time, hitting refresh on this page for it to go live. And then I was up reading all the changes and then got tired and slept in. So, well, so it's cringe to eat on stream, but I'm gonna take a bite of this bar before we get going. How much of Space Marines has been nerfed? Not as much as you would expect. Some slight nerfs. A couple of weird archetypes got nerfed. Awkwardly, the number one, the Gladius Task Force Ultramarines, just totally fine. Fuck it. Who cares? Certainly is a data sheet. It's a time when everyone bitches about their army being bad. Maybe. I think there are some armies in here that are going to be very happy. And interestingly, yeah, no time for Duncan. I have a tiny Starbucks today. Is my coffee this morning. I usually get these for event coverage, and then I just have some left over. Basically, is what I'm working through. Yeah. So I don't know. Yeah, new demon detachment. Basically a new demon data sheets. Crazy demons were, I don't know. It's basically totally rewritten. Absolutely wild. Super wild update. Blood Angel's crying blood right now. Yeah. I mean, yeah. Anyway, let's talk about it. I think what we will do is start with the Munitorum. I think that is good context, and I think has the least I think this is the old one. So they fucked up the Munitorum, by the way, for those who are watching at home. When it was released this morning, none of the changes were represented in the field manual. So you had no idea what changed unless you did a one-by-one comparison, which takes hours, which I wasn't going to do. So I was like, we might just not talk about the Munitorum field manual. We'll just say, fuck it. The field manual can do whatever. But I think we're okay doing this. I'm going to shift over my viewer a little bit so we can actually see what we're looking at here. And I think I'm definitely going to zoom it in because it is... oops, that's the zoom out. It is even small on my screen. I'm also... My laptop is... the mouse I have for it is a little bit of a funky scroll wheel, so... Hopefully it doesn't come out to bite us. We'll see. Surprised Codex Marines didn't get original Oath of Moment added to the +1 to wound. Yeah, just we'll just keep stacking on top of it. Marines should get reroll hits, reroll wounds, +1 to wound. Let's give them +1 to hit as well. And then the Terminator rule changes to you always hit on 2s if you target your Oath target. Or you just automatically hit. Fuck it. Your weapons get torrent when you target the Oath target. Who cares? So yeah, Adeptus Sororitas got some very minor changes. Seraphim down, Zephyrim down, Dominions down, Sacrosancts down, which is good. It's kind of it's good in some builds, which is always interesting to me. but definitely not the greatest thing ever. Arcoflagellants down if you take big units of them. We have some core rules changes to TacticalTortoise as well that we'll talk about momentarily. Adeptus Custodes. We do have Blade Champions up, which I think is fair. As soon as a unit gets taken in triplicate in every single list, I think that is probably worth taking a peek at. We did see a couple of changes. Venerable Contemptor up 10, I think is fine. Telamon Dreadnought up 10 is interesting. I know it is like the Solar Spearhead poster child, but it's I don't know. It's never felt like it is overpowering to me. Like it's just a Redemptor Dreadnought with wearing a different skin, basically. I guess with a 4+ vulnerable save. But that hasn't felt like the Telamon Dreadnought is like kind of the game ender for the detachment, but it never felt like the strongest part of it. The fact that we kept Caladius Graph Tanks the same cost, Venerable Contemptors probably need to go up because there were 3 of them in every Solar Spearhead. I think makes sense. Custodian Wardens did go up as well. But we saw a drop to Custodian Guard. They are now, what is this, 170 divided by 4, 45 points model. We're slowly but surely like creeping down quite a bit. And Knights and Shura down 15. Probably still not going to take them, but it's cute. Shield Captains, all the characters went down quite a bit. Shield Captain Donegal went down. Lars Terminator Shield Captain went down. Shield Captain went down. This guy, the fact that this guy was more expensive than a Blade Champion, and still is, in fact, blew my goddamn mind when I was trying to build lists for this army. Because I was like, are there ways that we can make a cool thing happen with a Shield Captain? And the answer is yes, you can do lots of cool things with Shield Captains. The problem is that why wouldn't you take a Blade Champion? He, in most cases, hits harder. He's faster. He has, arguably better buffs for the unit that he's attached to. And Custodes don't often try to turbo out these Rites of Battle combos. So that change is important. Custodes also so they have Solar Spearhead. There are a couple nerfs to Solar Spearhead. Augury Uplink got a slight points increase. There was a nerf to one of the stratagems. It's not that big, to be perfectly honest. However, they also got a new detachment, which looks incredibly strong. So we will talk about that as well later on. Adeptus Mechanicus, Belisarius Call went down. Temper's Dominance went down. Nothing really going on over there. A little bit unfortunate for the AdMech friends. And no love for the Reaver Titan. Let us bring a single Reaver Titan in an army. Aeldari did get some slight nerfs on top of that. Dark Reapers went up if you take the full 10-man, so you're incentivized to take 5-mans. I'm gonna open my coffee here real quick, chat. Which I think is fair because a lot of aspect hosts were taking 25, 30 Dark Reapers in big units of 10, so I think it's probably fine to curtail that to try to incentivize you to only take 1, maybe. Dire Avengers went up, which is a little surprising to me. They're kind of like an Azraman delivery system, so I think that the problem in that unit is him rather than the Dire Avengers themselves. But it's not that huge of a change. Fire Dragons went up as well, which I think literally everyone was expecting. And the 5-man for Striking Scorpions went up too, which I think is also fair because it's probably the best forward operator unit in the game. At 75 points and at 85 points feels a little bit reasonable. $40k would be much better if you use Titans. Azraman is dead. Wow. I don't know about that, chat. He did get a nerf, but once we get to the Dataslate, we'll talk about that. Wave Serpent also up 10 as well. Which I guess is fine, although, I don't know. I'm more scared of a Falcon than I'm a Wave Serpent, but it does deliver 10 guys. But I guess the guys it's delivering are more expensive, so this does feel like a little bit of an extra hit, I guess. But if you compare it to most of the dedicated transports, the Wave Serpent profile is still probably way better than another 10 model capacity transport. It's a Rhino chassis, but it's another 4 inches of movement. Has its defensive, it's a Serpent Shield effect. Has a heavy weapon on top, so I guess it's something similar. Yeah, I don't know about Azraman changing that much. I will say I'm not an Eldar player though, so I don't have too much experience with new Azraman. Astra Militarum saw a nerf to field ordnance batteries. The Astra Militarum changes. These Astra Militarum changes are blowing my mind here. So I will pour one out for Astra Militarum, unfortunately. the Bridgehead Strike got hit 6 ways from Sunday, and it definitely might feel like a little bit of an over nerf to that detachment in particular. Obviously, Munitorum players, as we discussed yesterday, are seeing success with a variety of lists. There are combined regiments, apparently cavalry-focused recon regiments doing well. There are especially mechanized assault detachments doing well. But Bridgehead Strike feels so much worse now that I don't know. We'll see. But we don't see a nerf to Krieg heavy weapon teams, which is, I think, the one thing in this codex that people could unanimously agree probably needed to go up. Tempestus Scions going up point per model makes sense, I think, because I think Tempestus Scions are still going to get taken in most armies regardless. Full wound rerolls with 1,000,000 gunshots is like sick. If you can get people on objectives, but you have deep strike, so you usually have control over who you're attacking. Heavy weapons teams went up, which is fucking wild, and I guess it's specifically for mortars. But are mortars like even that oppressive? I don't know. I'll let my opponent roll out a bunch of like a high variability 1 damage AP0 into me. Like, it doesn't really do that much. It just can clear light utility stuff, but that's weird. And then field ordnance batteries going up, also pretty weird, I think. So I don't know. I don't know about these Astral Charm changes, chance. And then another nerf to Bridgehead Bombast Boxeroy goes up 10, but you're still gonna play that in that detachment for sure. Games Workshop wants you to buy more siege cannons. Asman package 345 cannot kill 5 Terminators. What? How often do you need to kill Terminators, shit? No changes to Black Templars, which is whatever. I think that they're staring down the barrel of a new Codex supplement. So I think that's why we wouldn't get huge transformative updates to their index. Right now, we're probably expecting to see actual rules for this faction in the future, but they are sucking a little bit. We did talk yesterday about some good Black Templars lists earlier this week, but they're largely off the back of +1 wound from oath at the moment, and though that's going away. So I don't know. We'll see how things go. Blood Angels did get some buffs. Rangefield Warrior went up 10 points because it's super good. But Death Company Marines went down. Bolt Rifle Marines went down. Those are the foot-mounted guys, not the jump pack guys, so you're probably not going to take them. Death Company Captains went down as well, it looks like. There's some nice changes. The biggest nerf here, Blood Angels lost to Bloodless Angels. We'll talk about that in a sec. So you are probably... You weren't playing these units anyway, so it's just not a huge change, and now you aren't benefiting from the Oath of Moment buff if you take any Blood Angel stuff at all, including Blood Angel supplements. So, yeah, I don't know. If the sub-faction feels bad, I do feel like we might have stagnated the Space Marine army into Ultramarines, but we'll see. Chaos Demons, I actually don't even know if I'm going to talk about this army. Was basically rewritten from the ground up. So if you read back through my Discord server, you might see that I had an absolute meltdown because I read the Dataslate and then I read the Munitorum and I said, Be'lakor plus 50 points? Are you fucking kidding me? Fiends of Slaanesh went up? This is insane. This is like, this is ruinous. Great Unclaimed One went up. Like, my regular ass Demonic Incursion build went up like 100 points. That's wild. We'll talk about exactly why that happened. They did not put the changes to demons in the Dataslate update, which I don't think is good. At least they should have called it out. But it was worse when you couldn't see what the actual changes were here. Nurglings going down is insane because obviously those are going to get allied in everywhere. So that's actually a buff to like every Chaos faction, as well as also Scrimmers went down too. That's pretty wild. Shalaxi Hellbane. Went down a huge amount, but that's because she's bad now. But we'll talk about that later on. And Endless Gift went up. Yeah, so the old school Demonic Incursion went up a bunch of points, but I actually think it's fine because you are going to side grade some models into slightly different but better versions of themselves, which is wild. Scouting T10 Beast of Nurgle. Yeah, it's gonna be insane, dude.
Azamaka Zuma donated $5 through Super Chat. Good morning, brother. As a Templar player, I would love to kick the GW balanced team in the nuts. The voting change is cool, but kind of meh.
Yeah, it does feel bad for Black Templars. I think I've said it before, but it feels to me like Games Workshop is, especially when it comes to the supplement chapters like Black Templars and Space Wolves, or the index chapters, I should say. It feels like the design team is treating Space Marines as a mono faction rather than treating sub factions individually. So beyond getting to the point where Space Marines are good in a holistic sense, they aren't super worried about internal balance. There's they changed a couple things to make the balance internally okay, but they're like, as long as there is Space Marine representation, we're just going to call it a day. Which sucks for like Black Templars and it sucks for Space Wolves, and those factions are getting shafted right now. But also, like, we're going to see a new supplement for them soon-ish, TM. So hopefully it gets rectified, and in the meantime, you can play Black Armored Ultramarines for a little bit, I guess. Which sucks, but, you know, it is what it is. Need to add Ultramarines to the exclusion list? Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree. I also think that there are probably further stuff that's needed for the other sub-factions, but we'll see. It is hard to discuss any other Space Marine faction because Ultramarines are so overbearing. But I don't know. I just don't know. Chaos Knights saw some cuts to the big knights, not hugely transformative. It feels like they do this every update. They're like 10 more points off a despoiler. Is that gonna make you play it? No, you're still gonna play 4 War Dogs instead. Oh, well, we'll try again next time. We'll take 10 more points off. Okay. Chaos Space Marines. We did see nerfs to Predators, and this has happened across the board, I believe. In some capacity, every faction's Predator varieties have been nerfed, which I think is fine. That's another unit that was taken in triplicate in a lot of list archetypes, and that's too many. Calm it down. Lord Discordant on Hellstalker got a cut. Forged Friend got a cut, which is cute. Yeah, that is a good unit. It just was suffering the for the sins of Index Chaos Space Marines, where it was like full rerolling everything with devastating, and it was like 140 points. And hopefully they can tune it back down to a point where it's just a fine inclusion. Dark Angels also remained super stagnant, which is a little bit sad, although they never got taken in like nobody was taking their specific detachments, so they were kind of just doing Space Marine stuff. Although Space Marines did get a couple of nerfs, so they kind of caught some crossfire, unfortunately, but it's okay. Even Vanguard got kneecapped? Yeah, even Stormlance got nerfed. They nerfed fucking Stormlance Task Force, and I don't understand it. It is the Space Marine updates are wild, but we'll talk about them. Death Guard saw Predators go up, but they saw a drop to Mephitic Blight Haulers, so probably a side grade in most cases. Looks like so Death Watch got a little change. Increased cost on 5-man Terminator squads, but decreased cost on 10. You always just take the 5 because you get the 3 heavy weapons in it, and they're just like they're kind of like a battle line unit that's like really like has a lot of utility and wanders around and does stuff. But that is all. They did get some buffs as well to Deathwatch. Mechanical changes. Drukhari cuts to Witches and Cavalite Warriors. That's nice quality of life, but not transformative. We have the final points for Emperor's Children. I believe that they are what was previewed by content creators, so I don't think anything is surprising here. If you've been playing with them in the last couple of weeks, then you are certainly recognize these points values, which seem fine. I think, I don't know, it feels to me like Flawless Blades could go down another like 5 to 10 for 3. But there's so efficient choices elsewhere that I think it's probably okay. Like their battle line units are fucking wild. They're so good. Their demon princes are incredible. The winged demon prince profile that they have is like nuts. The downside is some of the delivery of their infantry units, but I think that there are workarounds. It seems like the players who are repping a lot of Emperor's Children are having a little bit of success. I won't say it's like a hugely meta-defining faction that's going to blow everyone out, but it's definitely playable, for sure. Did Tiger Shark take another nerf? We'll get there eventually. Emperor's Children seem very mid. Yeah, extremely mid. I would agree with you. Mid in like a cool way. It's interesting. We saw a little nerf to Neophyte hybrids in the big unit composition. So if you're taking like a Host of Ascension, you're having a bad time probably. But that's it. Grey Knights Interceptor squads went down. They did see nerfs to Warpaint Task Force, which blew me away. So we may see less Interceptor squads because of that. Imperial Agents got a cut to Calexis Assassin when played in faction and out of faction. Look at that. Does that make him the cheapest assassin option? I think so, right? Calidus is 100, Eversor is 120, Vindicare is like a trillion, 1 trillion, 125. Yeah, is 40 points less than a Vindicare assassin. Imperial Knights, Knight Valiant went down, Knight Castellan went down, so the big Dominus class Knights down 30. I think those are maybe a little underplayed. Although, obviously, like, the Knight meta game is just all Armigers and War Dogs forever now. And I don't know if that's going to change. But having a base 2+ armor save, I think, is it's surprisingly resilient for a Knight, like a Knight chassis. When you have the Feel No Pain baked in, and you're talking about a high toughness, like T13 model, when you're there also basically saving on 4s against most anti-tank without rotating ion shields, it gets a little awkward to actually deal damage to them. Surprisingly, Leagues of Votann had no changes. They did get a rewrite of their army ability. I don't know if it's enough to kind of like pull them out of the doldrums that they're in. I hoped we would see a couple of points adjustments to them. Maybe the design seems happy where they are, but the army ability change doesn't really change how they play in Oathband lists, but it does make Hearthband an actual detachment and not just super trash. So we'll see. I don't know. Cheap enough for reserves too. Oh, that's true. You can, but you just Mysterious Guardian it anyway, right? If you want to do deep strike stuff. Strategic reserves with big models is always weird because it's so screenable. So I'm just so boring. Yeah. I mean, they need to have more than like 3 kinds of units. Like Little Knight, Big Knight, really big Knight is all you have. And so if you want to make that faction much more dynamic and interesting, they need other types of units. We need infantry, we need support stuff, we need little characters and things. But we don't have any of that. It's just different sizes of robots. So speaking of different sizes of robots, here's Necrons. Doomsday Arcs went up 10. Okay. Sick. Orcs. Orcs got a lot of changes. Tactical Brigade saw some nerfs as well. Tank Bus is up 15 points. Big Mecha Shock Attack up 10. I don't think anybody is surprised by that, although they did get a new detachment that makes those units wild. So they might just be back where they were. Looks like Mech Captain's up another 10 as well. Which I guess is fair. That's the one thing that makes the Flash get super dumb in that detachment, and so you just make it go high, I guess. And then Space Marines. Here we are with the big boys. Ballistic Dreadnought up 10. Thank fucking God. I kind of hope that in the last update, or 6 months ago, I think, when they changed Ballistic Dreadnought points values, I kind of hope that it was like an Ogren situation where they forgot which variety of the Primaris Dreadnought they were supposed to be buffing. And they accidentally reduced the points value of the Ballistic Dreadnought instead of the Brutalis Dreadnought, because 130 for that thing was too small. The Ballistic Dreadnought profile is insane. Thank God it's back up to 140. I don't know if it's going to make a huge deal, but it probably will. Blade Guard Veterans are down, which is interesting. I think there are a couple lists that bring them. And it definitely, 80 points or 160 is definitely like an interesting place to consider them. They have a hit reroll effect baked in, so they're good for your captains too. We saw some interesting play with them in Liberator, which I really liked. where you played like Blade Guard veterans and then dual attached to them, and then you had like Fight First, Ragefield Warrior in one unit that would just like sit around in the middle of the table for a while. That was really cool. Centurion Devastator squads got wildly buffed, but that's because their interaction with Vanguard Spearhead has been changed quite a bit, at least in Ultramarines. You can play them outside of Ultramarines, and you just have cheap Centurion Devastators. Marnie's Calgar went up 10, not a big deal for Ultramarines. Company Heroes went up 10 as well, so his combination went up 20 in total. And if you're playing 2 or 3 Ballistic Dreadnoughts, you might have lost 50 points, which is important. That is impactful in Space Marines. That's a utility unit, but it's not the end of the world. Predators went up as well, shocker. Vindicators went up 10 points, and the Whirlwind went up 10, which is funny. We're just talking about Whirlwinds. Desolators, I don't believe, changed at all, so I think that the Desolator, now that they are very close to the same points value, you might just take that Desolation Squad, shoot so many more times. I guess the downside of Space Marines having so many overlapping data sheets is like, do I take this 190 point Whirlwind, or do I pay 10 more points, get a very similar profiled weapon on the Sergeant, and then I also get 5d3 additional attacks with indirect fire, and if I need direct fire, I also get 4d6 plus 2 damage cannon shots. I don't know. Probably not that. Liberator Assault Group with Blade Guard might be nice. Yeah, that's what we saw. Although I believe it was Bloodless Angels when we saw it at ATC North Carolina. So that's unfortunate. Oh, so Librarius Conclave got a nerf to Fusillade. Fire Discipline went down 15 though. Huzzah! That's good. That was a needed change, to be fair. As much as remiss as I am to see Gladius Task Force get better, Fire Discipline at 40 was like laughably overcosted. It was just like, we don't want to remove the enhancement from the army. Like, at least make people consider playing it. Why are we paying the points cost of a whole extra model for this thing? Doesn't make sense. All right. Space Wolves, no changes. In the same boat as Black Templars, I think, unfortunately. And they, in fact, I guess got slightly worse because some of the detachments that they want to play got worse, but not in a way that's hugely meaningful for them. Tau Empire saw points reductions to Krutox Rampagers and Lone Spears. No nerfs to the Tiger Shark, though, chat. Desolators are better than the Whirlwind, yeah. Yeah, and I don't think there's a way to, like, equalize that without making the Whirlwind broken, right? So it's like, people are going to take one or the other. Yeah, it's not a great situation. Everything catching strays except for Ultramarine Gladius. Yeah, that's the Space Marine army now. Is Gladius Ultramarines. I don't know. But some nice buffs for Kroot. That the Kroot detachment that we talked about on Monday went down 70 points. It's like basically a whole extra Kroot unit, which is quite a bit. Basically an extra 40 to 80 points for Auxiliary Cadre. Yeah, for sure. Because they're almost always going to take the one Rampager break in at least one Lone Spear. Yeah, I agree. Thousand Suns got like side graded, which is kind of blowing my mind, but we're gonna see a Thousand Suns Codex in like 10 minutes, right? So I don't know if these changes actually matter. Like big units of Scarab Cult Terminators, big units of Cultists, big units of Zangor, and also the Terminator Sorcerer all went down, but the middle of the Vortex Beast went up again. Like, okay, can we stop nerfing one of the 2 data sheets that this faction plays? The Scarab Occult unit, like Terminators, I don't think are gonna even at 25 points cheaper for the whole combo are gonna see that much play. So, I don't know, pretty weird. Tyranids, all side grades here. Trigon went down 10. That's actually sick. Trigons are, I think, they're good in a lot of situations. We saw some success with them in simulation over the weekend. They're really good in Crusher Stampede. So that's interesting. Neurolictors went down, which is probably, and also Hive Tyrants went down, which is something I was calling for. The Neurolictor is still at 80, I think, is like a travesty, because the Neurolictor was, the whole faction was designed around the Neurolictor existing. And then they were like, oh, people are taking too many. This support unit that supports the entire faction is the only reason this faction has any army ability whatsoever, is being taken in triplicate in too many armies. Nerf it. What the fuck? At least they're slowly dialing that back, so that's good. They put it to 90 points. It was almost 150% of its previous point cost. Wild. On the flip side, Tyrannofexes and Exocrines went up, probably to be expected because those data sheets are really efficient. But 5 and 10, or 10 and 5 respectively. So many lists will go up like 40, I think, maybe. But if you're also getting 30 off your Neurolictors and stuff, like if you run 2 Neurolictors and a Hive Tyrant, which is very standard, you get 30 off. So you almost side graded. You just got to find 10 points somewhere. And to be fair, Tyranids also have a lot of really expensive enhancements. So many of their detachments play 10 points down regardless. So it's like, all right, cool. In Hexwarp Thrallband, you give Scarab Cult Terminators a 4+ fight on that. Hell yeah. I can fight with my 3 like strength 5 melee attacks. Let's go. Last and certainly not least, World Eaters. World Eaters actually, I think, got a kind of prodigious set of buffs. Demon Prince, Winged Demon Prince, Juggernaut Lord all went down. However, the metagame has been ruined for the faction because their Predator varieties went up 5 and 10 points. No, our Gunline World Eaters armies are suddenly, they're ruined beyond repair. The Juggernaut Lord is actually starting to get seen play. I saw a lot of lists that ran Invocatus plus a single Juggy Lord. Sometimes with like Berserker Glaive, and he would just run a flank. So he went down 20. Obviously, the infantry list focusing on the Demon Prince, getting 15 points. Winged Demon Prince is like cute. I think in Vessels lists, obviously. Also went down 15 points. That's all good. It's not huge, right? We're not buffing like Jackals and 8-bound, but it is a quality of life thing there. Oh. So anyway, chat. How will World Eaters survive this with the nerf to their gun tanks? Do they still have 140 point forge speed? Oh, 145. Sad. Those are the points changes, chat. I would say on the whole, not a lot has like been prodigiously changed, right? If your points of most armies are going to remain relatively the same as they did in the previous version. So unless you were spamming like Predator Destructors or something, you're probably not hurting too hard. But we obviously have a whole bunch of additional changes to talk about. Let's do that in the Dataslate. Jugular is now the cheapest World Eaters combat. World Eaters combat? Yeah, that's true. Yelling "we" all the way home. Indeed. Dude, same. So first off, we're starting. I don't believe that core rules had any changes. No. I also actually didn't look if rules commentary had any changes. Nope. So pretty light data slate outside of some of the stuff we're going to talk about. It feels like, I don't know, somebody's got a hard on for demons right now, because it feels like demons get to like entirely rewritten every update now. I guess they got the Gene Stealer cults treatment, where they just couldn't decide how they wanted Gene Stealer cult to work, so they kept rewriting their codex in each data slate update. And that's kind of where we're at for demons right now. But the other factions didn't get huge changes. Saw Nid's got grenade keyword on a kill team unit. I don't know anything about that. Like, wait, they didn't get a kill team data sheet, I assume. That would be in other? No. Demons got their codex, yeah, essentially. All right. Let's talk about some rules changes, chat. Let's go. Adeptus Sororitas has been updated. Thank fucking God. They went from being a powerhouse to literally not existing for 3 whole months. They now gain a miracle dice at the start of each battle round, as is normal, and each time an Adeptus Sororitas unit from your army is destroyed, not at the end of the turn, if 1 or more units were destroyed, gain 1. Which meant that this like traditionally MSU, like high unit count army that was trying to farm resources off losing those units, never got any of those resources, so it sucked. But that has been updated, and now it works good. I'm also shocked the Grey Knight didn't nerf chat. That blew my mind when I saw it. We'll talk about that momentarily. Aeldari, some changes to Aeldari. Asserman changed his anti-infantry 3 to anti-infantry 5 when he uses his Super Saiyan ability once per battle. I'm gonna level with you. I'm not an Eldar player, so I may be biased in the opposite direction of the faction. This doesn't feel like a particularly impactful change for this data sheet. Every time I was talking about Azerman, it was in the context of him like dumpstering a whole vehicle. And the fact that he had anti-infantry 3 felt like a little bit of a bonus. But I guess like he's like slightly worse at killing heavy infantry now, but if you're building him to do that where you have aspect tokens available and wound rerolls, then like he's still gonna probably chunk 3 to 4 devastating hits into a target. And it feels like that's fine to me. I don't know. I have not had the opportunity to play with Asserman yet, so maybe I'm coming from the outside, but this doesn't feel like a particularly impactful change to this data sheet. He could drop 5 to 10 points. I could see that. Yeah, it was weird that he got changed and Dire Avengers went up. Because I don't think you play Dire Avengers without him. So that they basically also increased his points value, right? And I don't think that was maybe necessary. But I think that unit is also still really, really good. So I don't know. Azerman's like I don't is Azerman gone, chat? That feels like a knee jerk. I don't know. You know what is gone though? Is fucking Bridgehead Strike. Holy shit. Wow. This detachment got taken out back and shot. I think it seems like it was too much, maybe, I don't know. Old Nemo the fish over there is like he's just blooping bubbles into the ear of the development team to get this detachment nerfed, apparently, because he keeps winning with it. It now grants you +1 to hit instead of +1 to wound. Now, most of this stuff is going to get take aim and hit on 2s anyway, so it doesn't matter. +1 to wound was way more effective. Now that means you can first rank fire, second rank fire with everything all the time. But that is not quite as impactful as +1 to hit. So when you were +1 to hit, +1 to wound, and sometimes you could source an extra attack on your plasmas, that was pretty neat. But now you're just hitting on 2s all the time, so it's like kind of whatever. I don't know. In addition, firing hot, the stratagem for +1, it's +1 strength and AP, I believe, on it says right here, improve the strength and armor penetration characteristic of hotshot, last carbines, last guns, last pistols, marksman rifles, volley guns, and sentry guns by 1. It now is 2 command points and only works with your within 12 inches of your targets. It is, interestingly, it's like worded in a funny way. It checks your unit's distance from the target, not each model attacking. So as long as one dude can get within 12, the whole unit gets the benefit, which is actually different than almost all of these effects work. Usually it says models in the unit targeting an enemy within 12 gain X, but this is worded the opposite way, so they didn't have to change as much. But that feels like too many nerfs. Why are we doing 2 things to the one stratagem, which in my estimation was only marginally effective to begin with? And then also on top of that, they also upped to Best of Scions by a point per model, so you're probably spending 40 to 50 additional points for the army for the models. They also upped the mortar teams another like 10 points, so you're spending another, if you take all 9 mortar teams, you're up another 9, and they upped the enhancement, so you're also up about 150 points. based on the normal bridgehead strike detachments. So this is like the classic triple nerf. We'll nerf the detachment ability, the stratagem, and all the units that you took in the detachment. It feels like it's dead, maybe. And it feels like a lot. I don't know. Whew. Yeah. I don't know, Chance. Engineers got a little nerf to remote mine. It less mortal wounds. It used to be, I think, D6 or D6 plus 3. If you hit a vehicle and 12 inches and not visible, but now it's 9 inches and visible and does half as many. The fact that this ability was on a 3, I feel like they could have taken away, because it's a remote controlled vehicle, right? You don't have to like go throw the mine on someone, so you could justify it being an automatic effect. And I think you could justify that taking away the 3+ to work, because that shit pisses me off. It's not quite as annoying as a 2+, because like a 2+ is like, it's like performatively variable. You're like, oh, on a 2+ take D3 mortals, and you're like, so why are we even rolling this? In every case where it matters, it's going to hit, except for the one time where it just makes everyone feel bad about it. A 3+ is at least like, well, it's kind of a risk if we're using this ability. But if we have the effectiveness of the ability and restrict its targeting, maybe just make it automatic. I don't know. I am a sucker for automatic effects. I don't think that most of these abilities should ever have to roll to hit. I think that's stupid, and I think it's counter to... it makes the play less interesting. It makes for like, you know, exciting moments or whatever, but it also opens up a lot of feel bads. And I would rather the game be more consistent and reward player agency over like the 1 in 10 games where the spectacle happens, where every mine like fucking fails and your opponent gets to do a thing they wouldn't otherwise do. Because the game states in which that is meaningful are so much less. Come up so much less in the game states where you just like get fucked because like you needed to do one wound to somebody and your weird little mortal wound roll failed. I don't know. I don't think I need to talk too much about that. Oh yeah, Matthew Culchar. I had exactly the same response that as you did. Hold on till we get to the Demon Index, because the whole context for every single datasheet in that army, every single datasheet has totally changed. I looked at the changes and I was like, this faction's dead. Legion of Excess was too strong. They took it out back and shot it. No. They rewrote fucking everything. It's wholly different now. Speaking of Legion of Excess, we'll talk about that real quick. I think this detachment might also be dead too. Seductive Gambits give you hit and wound rerolls of 1. If you are shadowed, you reroll hit rolls and wound rerolls of 1. So you get it's like less than half as effective on the baseline when you choose to sacrifice fight first. But if you are in shadow, which to be fair, mostly you are, it's a very aggressive detachment. You have Keepers of Secrets. Then it's like 2/3 is effective, I guess, as the old version. So it has extra riders on it. Importantly to this, or pertinently to Seductive Gambits, most of the Slanesh data sheets have also changed and become significantly weaker. So this detachment got nerfed. It's like a 1-2 punch for Slanesh demons. If you're a big Slanesh demon stan, you're gonna have a bad time. The detachment ability got nerfed. The data sheets all mostly got nerfed. Some of them got buffed a little bit, but also the stratagems got nerfed. Thief of Pain now is restricted to 9 inches. Cannot work on soul grinders. So you can't pass wounds off of a soul grinder anymore, and you have to be visible to the unit that you are thiefing that is taking the wounds. So you can't hide a contorted epitome behind a wall 12 inches away from a soul grinder and then pass the wounds over. That contorted epitome, first of all, it has to not be a soul grinder. The contorted epitome has to be 3 inches closer and in front of the wall, so your opponent will just shoot that unit. Much worse. But also, I don't know, the weird interrupt stratagems that Legion of Excess had felt in some cases like maybe too good. I don't know. Overwhelming Excess was the one that fucks with your opponent's shooting. It gave you -1 to hit and then a battle shock check, and if you failed the battle shock check, you had to shoot somebody else. Oftentimes, that would just end the game. We watched a game recently with Astra Militarum, a mechanized assault, where they would like disembark, set up to use all their stratagems. Overwhelming Excess would get played. They'd fail a battle shock check, lose their orders, lose their ability to use stratagems, do 1 damage to a fiend, and then get vaporized. And so that was like way too transformative in too many matchups. If you were leadership 7 or worse, the stratagem was fucking brutal. Absolutely brutal. You used it every single shooting phase, and it eviscerated you. If you were leadership 6 or better, oftentimes it was just a nice bonus, and now it has been changed to just being that. It's just like a smokescreen. Oh, but it works in the fight phase, though, actually, which is kind of neat. If you're not a keeper of secrets. Legion of Exodus seems more dead than Bridge had. I think maybe in context of the datasheet changes, like Fiends got the Emperor's Children lowdown, like they got fucking trucked. Yeah, weird nerf to Grey Knights. I don't really know where this came from. It was kind of out of nowhere. You can only gain the Hallowed Ground rerolls targeting a visible targets. So it doesn't work if you are fighting through a wall, and it doesn't work when Purgators use their Astral Aim. The one time we found a way to make Purgation squads not fucking horrible, and G-Dub's like, nah. If it says indirect fire, it has to be bad. It must suck. Even if the indirect fire has 7 hoops you have to jump through, it is only playable in a single detachment and still only kills 5 Space Marine scouts. It has to be bad. Excuse me, chat. Oh my god. Oh, sore throat. Jesus. Yeah, I don't understand it. I don't understand it. Beyond the argument that indirect fire is not fun. But it's not even real indirect fire. And I don't know. Yeah, nerfing this attachment, whatever. It's stupid and bad. It's a bad change. And I'll say it. Leagues of Votann got their army rule rewritten. At the start of the battle, regardless of the detachment you play in, at the start of the battle you choose 2 things to get judgment tokens. If you play in Oathband, the index detachment, you get 2 additional in a Strike Force game, so you can choose up to 4 like you could previously, and it gives you the command points. So you get half of the Oathband detachment rule, even if you play Hearthband. Which I think makes Hearthband significantly more interesting, because the problem with that detachment previously was that you had almost no source of proactive judgment token assignment. So the whole detachment was like, hey, take a bunch of Einhir Hearthguard and all this shit, and then jump it on your opponent and do 1,000,000 damage. Except all of their profiles are assuming your opponent has between 1 and 2 judgment tokens on them, and you can't assign judgment tokens at the start of the game, so you have to lose the Hearthguard first before they get to attack or something. I don't know. It was not good. It was not well thought out. This is a nice quality of life change. But I don't know if it's going to transform the faction. I do think Votann are due for a Codex. I don't know what the schedule looks like. They might be Codexified soon. But it does feel like I don't know. We'll see how things go for them. They're a little underrepresented right now. I guess they're still doing okay, but it's not amazing for those guys. Judgment token is always a poorly designed rule. Yeah, I don't disagree. I think that it's very core to the theme, so I understand it, but I don't disagree that it's probably not. It's not like an interactive rule. I like the effects that can assign judgment tokens to enemies proactively. Like, I think that's cool. If it's the whole thing is like, hey, I'm supposed to lose units to then power up the rest of my army. Also having a way to start the chain more effectively, I think, is good. I feel like they hold so far back on the reins for making those effects viable. It's a little tough, for me, in my opinion. Is this enough for the Grotsmas detachment? I think it's enough to give it a go, for sure. You certainly still need to play like a bunch of chaff idiots. You can you lose to the opponent to buff your Einherjar, but you kind of have to do that anyway to make the detachment work. Knight Tyrant is less than 500. I don't think the points values don't matter for Chaos Knights, right? I believe that Chaos Knights can just ally one Chaos Knight. I don't think that it matters how many points it is. One Chaos Knight or 3 War Dogs. It's the Demon allies where you have to worry about how expensive they are. They clarified the bomb squig effect. That they FAQ'd it so it worked this way, but they also then clarified it. They also have to work on visible units, I guess. But it clarified use 1 bomb squig each time you end a normal move. You don't use the ability, which is good. And then Space Marines. We're into the big Space Marine boys. Yeah, at least playable. I did watch somebody at I think we were at 8TC and somebody was playing it. It was kind of funny to see because they were getting pushed in super hard, and then the Einherjar showed up, and you got to see the power of the Einherjar, where they once you add all the abilities together, they do pretty solid damage, and they basically almost tabled a Legion of Excess Army in one turn essentially. But the problem was that turn was turn 5, so it was the problem is that we don't have the momentum to get going until then, and so there's no early game for the army. And I think that hopefully this change will help it. I don't know, but definitely it makes those units do good damage, which is solid. So Oaths of Moment has been rewritten. Now it restricts you from gaining the +1 to wound if you include units with Black Templar, Blood Angels, Dark Angels, Death Watch, or Space Wolf keywords. In addition, you also don't get the bonus if you are. You also only get the bonus if you are using a Codex Space Marine detachment. They have a clarification of what counts as Codex Space Marine detachments. I believe it's all of the detachments found in Codex Space Marines plus Librarius Conclave. So there's an FAQ about it. But anyway, you basically just have to play the Codex Marines to get the buff. Unfortunately, they did not add Ultramarines to the list, so you still get the bonus if you play Ultramarines, which means everyone and their mom is just going to play fucking Ultramarines. And they're going to play Gladius Task Force, and that's what every Space Marine army is now. Which is what it is, you know? Anyway. Not a great change, but we talked about it. Nerf to Stormlands Task Force, the Whim Swift Evasion, the 6-inch auto 6-inch reactive move, only works on infantry or mounted units. You can't use it on dreadnoughts and vehicles and stuff, which is a little sad. That was the one piece of synergy that Stormlands Task Force had with non-mounted, beyond giving them assault. So that, I think, removes a lot of the really interesting ways you could play it, and I think it super nerfs John Lennon's weird storm speeder list quite a bit, which is sad because that list was cool. If they had put up Calgar and Gilliman another 10 to 15, might not just be ultras. Yeah, I don't disagree. Or even make Gilliman cheaper, but get rid of his double ability thing. Make you choose between free strats and double oath. I don't know why you get both and the oaths are better. That change was wild to me. Phobos Lieutenant, poor little guy. He lost his synergy with melee units. His shoot and scoot is now auto 6 inches, but you can't charge at the ends. Reavers, back on the shelf, guys. Sorry. You're in cursors now. It was nice. It was fun while it lasted. It wasn't even that good, but you suck again, I guess. I don't know. Pretty wild. And then I think that's everything for rules changes in this document. Oh, no, just kidding. We have one more Ultramarine one to talk about that I almost skipped over. Uriel Ventress got a nerf. Probably well-deserved. He now must choose Phobos, Gravis, or Tacticus Infantry to give Deep Strike to. So he, interestingly, does not work on Firstborn, so you can't do it on, like, Devastator squads. But also, you can't do it on Centurion units, so no more teleporting a big idiot unit of Devastator Centurions all the way around the table, hanging out and doing whatever. Really looking forward to trying Reavers as Lieutenant against Saga of Majesty. Yeah. RIP. Yeah, it's not great for them. We can also take a peek at the Grotsmas buff, the Grotsmas changes. You're putting Reavers in Deathwatch? Are they in Reaver squads, or are they in Spectrus kill teams, Chan? That's the question. Good thing little Timmy isn't getting yelled at for playing the wrong color Space Marines. Yeah, at least we're no longer in 8th edition where LVO had a rule that said if you play a Space Marine if you have a Space Marine chapter with a chapter color scheme, you must play that sub-faction. Who remembers that? What a time. What a time to be alive. So it was like, wait, so it's mechanically superior to make up your own color scheme and not play the Games Workshop, like their Games Workshop instructed color schemes? That's an interesting marketing decision, guys. I don't know if GW is going to love that. What? Oh, I'm not supposed to play Ultramarines? My army literally becomes more powerful if I don't make it an Ultramarine color scheme? Okay, well, I guess they're magenta now. Wild. If you have a Phobos Lieutenant attached to an Eliminator with an Instigator Bolt Carbine, do you get the 6-inch move twice? No, because moves that trigger off of ending your shooting activation are surge moves, and surge moves can only be performed once per phase, which we had a whole discussion on, I think, a while ago. Which feels weird, because it feels like blood surge moves should be surge moves, but surge move is any triggered out of activation movement, which is basically any out of activation movement at all. All right, so some changes to Grotsmas stuff. It also means you can't do it when you're battle shocked, which is funny. Which is going to get some Eldar players with their stuff. Solar Spearhead got a change to Unstoppable. It works in your movement phase or the charge phase. It allows you to move through terrain features. I apologize if there's background information or background noise. There is a extremely loud piece of machinery going off. I think I might actually close the door. That's really loud. Yeah, that's annoying. Give me one sec, chat. I'm gonna see if I can dull that. Sorry, chat. We had a mishap with a washing machine. So I'm in my, you know this if you were on the stream yesterday, but I'm at my mom's place this week because she's not too far away from Ides of March that I streamed this weekend. So I'm chilling around with her for a couple of days, and I'm in the basement. I'm relegated to the basement to stream, and hanging out with a washing machine that's extremely loud, apparently. The music is louder. Is the music too loud? I can turn it down. I apologize if it's too loud. Is it better now, chat? Almost couldn't get back into transport because of a Patriarch Ingress battle shock. Oh, geez. That's cute. Anyway. Yeah, so Solar Spearhead, the change to this stratagem is that you can move through terrain. You can't move through models anymore. There's a weird question because it didn't let you move through engagement ranges. So it was questionable whether or not it could move through enemy models because it had a slightly different wording than effects that do allow you to move through enemy models. And they have nipped that in the bud by simply not allowing you to move through models at all. Very minor nerf to Solar Spearhead. We also saw some points changes, obviously, but that's about it. Big buff to Death Watch for Black Spear Task Force. Can you use adaptive tactics to grant mission tactics to an Adeptus Astartes unit that does not have the mission tactics ability? The answer is yes. So we can give like lethal hits, sustained hits, all that stuff to any Marine unit for a command point, which is neat. Probably it makes like large, like big doom bricks, I think, a little bit better. Things like Hellblasters and stuff, probably good. Mom reveal when. Please don't let Deathwatch Desolators come at it. At least it doesn't let you special issue ammunition them like you could previously, because then they would be fucking everywhere. Those you would never be able to escape from those guys. Tactical Brigade got a big nerf. You can no longer double order units, which, to be fair, was very rarely relevant. That would usually only happen when you needed +1 to hit and also stealth, or like reroll charges and also +1 strength. So it wasn't always. Now you issue one tactical order. The model issuing the order, it's a weird way to implement it. The model issuing the order takes a leadership test. If that model fails the test, they also deal a mortal wound in addition to issuing the order to the target of the order. So like they make a leadership test to see if they can get the boys to listen, and if they can't, they bash some heads. So pretty significant. I think there's two downsides to this. First of all, it's much more annoying to resolve, because if you have, like, let's say you have, I don't know, 8 orders in your orc list, right? Now you have to roll 8 leadership checks and potentially assign mortal wounds based on results of those. And then also it allows you to issue half as many orders as you could previously. So it's a pretty significant debuff, to be fair. Billion bolter rounds from a intercessor squad? Yeah, maybe. Or sustained centurions. That would be good. Those are the Grotsmas changes. There were a couple kind of hidden. We talked about Fusillade, I think. But we have a lot of other stuff to talk about. There are new... there are, like, individual faction updates. Stuff went to Legends. I'm trying to sort them out in here. Astra Munitorum. I actually don't know if I read that one. Something changed with Kazrakin guns. Maybe they fixed their pistols or something. Oh, I think they changed some of the weapon options to prevent you from dual equipping war gear. In some cases, you could equip, like, for example, your medic to the guy with the banner, because nothing said you couldn't do that. Yeah, that's not huge changes to those ones. I don't know if I went through every single faction FAQ. Aeldari got some updates. Battle focus was added to Corsair units. It was probably just an oversight that they forgot to add it in there, but that's a nice quality of life. In addition, a the transports, Falcon and Wave Serpent, can now transport Azir, Yanni, Yanari units. So the only Yanari units that they cannot transport are the Drukhari ones. So that big update. Make Devoted Yniad significantly stronger. Corsairs seem pretty legit at 60, yeah. Yeah, just like scouting units. But the problem, and I guess now that they aren't like directly comparable to striking scorpions, it might be, in terms of points value, it might be a little bit like more realistic of a comparison. You might be more realistic to take the Void Reavers as a forward operator. Because previously, you would look at them and you'd be like, well, for 10 points more, I get fucking Striking Scorpions, which also have Infiltrate and also Sustained Hits and also a million bonuses. And an Exarch and an Invuln save. Like, what the fuck? But now that it's like a 25-point difference, I think that it's much more reasonable. Yeah. Suppose you get a heavy weapon, right? Or do you need a 10-man to get the heavy weapon? I think you need a 10-man. I think otherwise they just get the Shuriken Rifle. There's no Enrathi drop down in Wahapedia. Come on, Wahapedia. Of course, they're Void Reavers. So you get a special weapon in 5. If you have 10, you get a heavy weapon. Okay, so you get you get a blaster or a shredder. That's fine. Not as good as a biting blade or the twin linked sword guy. Wacha! Like sustain hit, 5 attack, twin links. Let's go. 5 of criticals. That guy's fucking a menace. But certainly definitely not bad. For 60 points, I would buy that for 60 points worth of dollars. And you do get 1 invulnerable save in the unit, I guess. If you take the shield on the unit champion. Good stuff. All right. I don't know if there are any more army FAQs that we need to talk about. The Space Marine one, which I think clarifies. Gravis Captain's gun got assault and heavy, which I think they forgot previously. Not that it made a huge deal. Clarification that Librarius Conclave is considered to be a Codex Space Marine detachment, which makes sense. That's about it for that as well. Should we talk about new detachments, chat? And if so, where should we start? Still probably taking Striking Scorpions. Yeah, what they give you is huge, but like, you also got other points nerfs, right? So like, instead of 2 or 3 Striking Scorpions, you might be 2, like 1 and 1 Corsair or 2 and 1 Corsair, where you just downgrade Striking Scorpions to free points up. I feel like that may be where it goes. We got 1 for Orcs, 1 for Custodes, 1 for Tau. Tau's not worth reading, so we'll call it negative for Tau. More for Orcs, more for Custodes. Come on, somebody break the tie. All right, want to do Orcs? Let's talk about Orcs, chat. The new Orc detachment's wild. So, more Dakka. It's an all-shooting Orc detachment. I love the wording on its ability. So it's during your shooting phase, you gain sustained hits 2. I'm gonna zoom in a little bit here. There we go. So there are a bunch of ways, or there are ways, I don't want to say a bunch of ways, but there are ways to shoot out of activation with this army. So you do not get sustained hits 2 in that, and you do not get it on Overwatch, which is all important to know. In addition, infantry and walker models also gain assault during the WOG turn, which is also pretty relevant because we have ways to count units as being in the WOG outside of WOG turn. Enhancements, we can get devastating wounds and hazardous on the bearer's ranged weapons. Pretty spicy. We can give rapid fire 1 to every ranged weapon in the bearer's unit. Very nice. You put that on fucking tank busters, my guy. What the fuck? Okay. Targeting Squig. Each time a model invader's unit makes a ranged attack, +1 to hit. Sick. We just have a tactical brigade order literally all day. All day, every day. Zogoth and Dakka is fall back and shoot. Pretty neat. That's probably a little filler. But these two, in particular, look fucking awesome. Extra attacks and or extra hits, all of those are good. Plus, you're probably putting them on mechs so that you can get reroll once they hit anyway. Stratagems, you get reroll wounds in the fight phase. It's reroll 1s to wound, but if the target's in range of an objective marker, you get full reroll wounds instead. Basically, you get the Legionnaire or the Assault Intercessor ability for a CP. That's phenomenal. Don't necessarily need a bunch of extra overlapping strength bonuses if you're just rerolling all your wounds on 10 knobs or something. Get Stuck In, Lads gives you the WOG out of turn. So it's usable in your command phase on one unit. You count as being in the WOG for that unit. Immediately good for people called out Zodgrod, I think, as being a great one. A really good one for that. I think Gaskell, right? His lethal hits will turn on if he PSEP. Plus, you get advance in charge and advance in shoot in this detachment. So you advance, shoot, charge, get all of your other abilities triggered. If you're Mega Knobs as well, you also get the Feel No Pain because it's until the start of your next command phase. So this stratagem fucking rules. It's actually shocking to me that orcs have not had another one like this elsewhere. Like this wasn't in Warhorde or anything. Where you would kind of expect it to be. It's like basically the equivalent of an adaptive tactics. But yeah, that's great. Huge show-offs. Make sure it's on my viewer, actually. Look it off. No, it's good. Until the start of your next command phase, you improve your unit. It's a one walker unit, by the way, so it's Morkanauts or Gorkanauts or Death Treads, I guess, if you want to play those things. You get +1 move, leadership, OC, and you get +1 to hit. So they're trying to make you play the big boys. In the Stampa, yeah, I guess so. Zodguard aggression your deployments on turn 1. Yeah, I mean they could always do that in Dreadmob. The downside was that it just required your WOG to do it, but in Dreadmob you didn't care because WOG had basically no effect for you. But in this detachment you just pay a CP and you get to get it every turn. It's nuts. This detachment looks so good. +1 to hit and +1 move is definitely pretty effective for a big silly walker. So I think the Titanic stuff may see some play in this detachment, maybe. If you have the CP to run it, it does feel like it's going to be a little bit difficult to fuel it all. Like there's no CP generators besides maybe Grecian doing their thing, but obviously like you have to roll a 4+, so you basically only generate 2.5 CP per round for them. Or per game, which is not a lot. So it's a little difficult to consistently generate a lot of command points in orcs, and this feels like it's going to be a command point intensive detachment. Long uncontrolled bursts gives you ignore cover. You select one enemy unit within 18 inches of a character until the end of the phase. You don't even have to be visible to the character. It's actually really funny. Until the end of the phase, orc models from your army have ignore cover when targeting that unit. So it strips cover from an enemy as long as you have a character within 18 inches of the target. Which, to be fair, you probably will, because you're like running war bosses at people. That's great. Obviously, orcs have a lot of AP2, AP3 stuff that gets blanked by a 2+ save and cover. And just being able to strip cover for a CP is phenomenal for them. Special Shells gives you +1 armor penetration characteristic if you target the closest eligible target within 18 inches. Also phenomenal. Kind of ignore cover with extra steps. But you can do both of them together and fire your special shells in long uncontrolled bursts and feel pretty wild. You can get AP4 ignore cover tank buster shots. Are you fucking kidding me? The hit on 3s, maybe, with sustained hits too. Yuck. Yucky. Call That Dakka is the last one. It's a reactive shot. If your opponent's shooting phase, they shot you and destroyed one or more models in your unit, you can shoot back at them. If you're an eligible target. So no bad stratagems here. And I would say all of these stratagems are at maybe like huge show-offs is like okay, I guess. It's good for the specific units that you want to be playing. But literally all of them are, I would say, are above average stratagems. Plus, you have a pretty solid detachment ability. Sustained hits too is like plus 1.5 to hit on all your attacks for infantry and walkers, and then assault is gravy right on top. And really good enhancements. This detachment rules. I think we'll see if it beats out Tactical Brigade. Maybe now that Tactical Brigade's more annoying to play, it might. It's definitely less consistent than Tactical Brigade, but it's also, I think the ceiling is much higher, right? Because you can just have a tank buster unit killed God if you roll well enough. So I don't know. It seems fucking great. 3 flash kit bricks? Maybe. Although they already have sustain, so they don't really get a huge benefit. Flash kits definitely feel like the purview of Tactical Brigade. I don't know. This feels like the tank buster detachment. Because all the abilities are like crazy. If you have a high impact hit like a tank buster round, all the abilities go absolutely insane. Ludas. Oh yeah, Ludas actually is probably the place where you put these. Yeah, no, for sure. That tracks. You just take both. Ludas are like free. So there's like 10 points a model. Just take 1 million of those guys with big shock attack on Big Mix in them. Fuck it. Let's go. Yeah, I'm terrified of this attachment. It looks amazing. Talk about some Tau Empire, champ. This one's a little bit less exciting. I think it feels like, I think I described it in the Discord as aggressively mediocre. There's like some cool stuff going on, but I don't know if I'm like super duper psyched about it. Welcome to the new orc meta. Even the old new orc meta. They're just gonna take their Tactical Brigade list and like swap out like the Flash Kits unit for Ludas, and then just play it in the new detachment. Like it's the same army. What? We get full wound rerolls in melee? Guess we better take. Check notes. 30 knobs. Oh, how different! What a different thing we're doing this time. Oh man. All right. Let's talk about experimental prototype Cadre. First of all, you get 6 extra inches of range on all your ranged weapons. I will say that is a really good ability specifically for Tau. Tau have a ton of awkwardly 18-inch range weapons, and pushing those to 24 is such an important break point. Oftentimes it means you get shots when otherwise you wouldn't, or you get shots from behind cover where otherwise you wouldn't. So that is a big deal. Plus, like somebody pointed out in chat as well, 16-inch range breachers is great. The big guns, like the big rail guns and missiles and stuff like that, not going to matter. But for crisis battle suits, for your sub guns, for your infantry mounted like small arms, it is a big deal. I think that is a good ability for the little boys. Mech, a Stompa, 3 Gorkanauts, 1 Morkanaut, and an 11 Grecian unit is 2,000. Nah, I do now. 18-inch range flamers for sure. Yeah, melta-guns. Yeah, there's good stuff. But it is very different than what you would normally be taking in, or what you would normally be expecting to play in a Kauyon or a Montka, because a lot of times you're focusing on, outside of breacher teams, on the longer range guns. And I think this is going to play very much like a retaliation Cadre, is my thought about it. I believe that fusions are range 12. So they go to 18 in this detachment. Yeah. All right. Weapons. Supernova Launcher. So these are all upgrade a specific weapon equipped by a Crisis Battlesuit, essentially. So the Supernova Launcher affects a Fragmentation Projector. These are all basically like the special issue or the experimental war gear that we used to see in the 9th edition Tau Codex. Supernova Launcher, I'm in orc mode. Buffs up a Fragmentation Projector. Gives you plus 3 strength, plus 1 AP, plus 1 damage. That's pretty good for an indirect fire weapon. Thermoneutronic Projector affects a Flamer. Gives it plus 2 strength, plus 1 AP, plus 1 damage. So strength 6, AP 1, 2 damage. Ignore cover. Pretty good. Plasma Accelerator Rifle, and then these will also get affected by whatever Crisis Battlesuit unit you're joining into. Obviously, we'll further improve these weapons. Plasma Accelerator Rifle gains +2 strength, +1 attack, +1 AP, +1 damage. So you go to 3 attacks, strength. Their strength basically take 8, right, on the plasma rifle. So you go to strength 10, AP 3 damage, I think, with 3 attacks. Pretty good. Fusion blades, you get +1 attack. It also affects it's one of these weapons, so it doesn't affect all of your weapons of that same name. So I think it's important to note. At least as far to my knowledge, yeah. I don't think there's another way you could read that. In fairness, improve the attack characteristic of a fusion blaster by 1, so it goes up to shoot 2 shots. Strength by 3. I think they're 9, right? So they go to strength 12, and it goes to melt of 4. Got to get in a range though. That's the tough part. But it is range 18 in the thing. Oh, the special Ghost Keel fusion. That's probably pretty good. Also, the Twin Link Flamer on that thing goes to 18-inch range too. 844 on the plasma. Oh yeah, they're base 3 damage. Yeah, I remember. Yeah. So that I don't know. Those are neat. They're not like transformatively like game changing because they only affect one weapon profile. But as long as they're not too expensive, and I didn't look at how expensive they were, I guess, but maybe I should have. Then I think they're solid. Stratagems. We can repair a battlesuit model, D3 +1 wounds. That's good for Riptides, but I don't know if you want to be playing Riptides quite as much. I guess it's for Ghost Keels. That's the Ghost Keels stratagem. Because you can blank 2 times per game and then also heal it. That's actually kind of a nightmare. All right, I've come around. I hate this stratagem. I never want to see anyone use this on their Ghost Keel battlesuit. Reactive impact dampeners in your opponent's shooting phase or fight phase after an enemy unit has selected its targets. You can give yourself the bodyguard roll. So if the strength characteristic of an attack is greater than your toughest, the toughest of your unit, they get -1 to wound. This is pretty good. Good for broadsides. Yeah, I get that too. It's not too bad. And you can do it 2 times per battle round. Oh, that's true. It's any command phase. Oh, it's like the old healing strat that they used to have. Who remembers that one? From 9th edition. Fuck. You used to play a Tiger Shark build that you would constantly be healing the Tiger Sharks. It was a fucking nightmare. It was like drone repair systems or something. It's basically that. Oof. All right, yeah. And you probably play Shady Lady in this attachment, yeah, I guess. She extends her range, which is good, and then also can regenerate your CP on your opponent's turn when you do that. 20 or more points for the enhancements. That's a little expensive. But I guess in this, like, for the situations where you're building an entire Crisis team around it, it's probably pretty good. Around, like, you're taking the Crisis team to buff that weapon profile. Experimental weaponry. You can reroll the number of attacks made with a weapon equipped by a model in the unit. So for flamer teams, that's really powerful. Or when you're shooting at air bursting fragmentation. That's especially for flamers. This feels like the flamer detachment. You want to play flamers? This is the flamers. This is where the flamers go. Yeah, that's Shady Lady. That's the character. That's the character Battlesuit Lady, who gives you 4+ CP regen. And reroll once they hit. This attachment will take more time to cook to find the secret sauce, yeah. I wish that Demons didn't just get a Codex. Otherwise, I would actually kind of want to try this Tau stuff. Every time I look at Tau, I'm like, look at all those cool things you can do. But then I just play Demons again, so I don't know. Experimental ammunition. So the other stratagems, I guess there's a Neuroweb System Jammer, which gives you an 18-inch lone operative on Crisis Battlesuits, which is great. So I don't want to say that that's not amazing. That's a phenomenal stratagem. Don't worry about that one. So you can take, like, if you're taking like triple Ghost Keel and a bunch of Crisis, you can take an army that is largely unshootable. Obviously, you only get 1 unit with the 18-inch lone op, but like you can just rapid ingress your stuff in funny places. This feels like there's something going on here. You can also, like, you can play forward operators to prevent your opponent from moving into 18, and then you shoot them from 18, and then they can't get back into you. This feels pretty interesting. Anyway, the other 2 offensive enhancements, or offensive stratagems, You can gain a bonus and choose to gain hazardous if you gain a further bonus. So experimental ammunition is +1 strength, and then if you want to, you can also gain +1 AP if you gain hazardous. If you're taking hazardous weapons already, cyclics and whatever, then it doesn't matter, so that's good. Threat assessment analyzer, you choose sustain or lethal, or you can gain both to then also gain hazardous. So it does kind of like nerf yourself. Obviously, if you're using this on crisis battle suits, it gets a little bit awkward because you don't want to take a trillion hazardous checks on crisis battle suits. If you're shooting like 4 weapons off a commander plus 2 weapons off 3 crisis battle suits, you're taking 13 hazardous checks, which doesn't feel great. You lose a whole crisis battle suit on average to that. But these can be used on anything. So you can like sustain lethal a breacher team. It's for sure going to die the next turn anyway. And who shoots 16 inches, and that's like not too bad. It's certainly not as good as like Exemplar of the Callion or something, but it's something. It's a modicum of a buff. .30-inch range 10-man Vespid. Our Vespid range 24 base. That's actually interesting. You can also use these stratagems on them too, right? No, range 18 base champ. So they go to 20. They go to 24. But that's still good, right? And then you can give them. You can get them to strength 6 or sustain. Downside is that we can't give them ignore cover, which sucks. I guess unless you do the you take the 10 man. So yeah, maybe you do take 10 mans. Fuck. Huh. That's interesting. Wild. All right. Yeah, this might be those big Vespid unit might be good. But yeah, I don't know. It does feel, I think, definitely doesn't have the same like spike in power as it feels like Callion does, and it doesn't even feel like it's quite as sustained as Monka. But I am interested to see how people build it out, because I think that there are definitely some damage combos in there that are going to be pretty scary. Burst cannons go burr, yeah, for sure. The question is like whether it's better than Retaliation Cadre just running crisis battle suits, I guess, but it's certainly better at running ghost keels, as we just talked about, and maybe Vespid also. So that one's cute. We'll do Adeptus Custodes next. This detachment, I will preface, seems super fucking sick. Like, holy shit. All right. Here's the rule. You ready? Although there's like active anti-synergy inside the army with the detachment rule, which is really funny. Each time an Adeptus Custodes unit from your army makes an attack, if there are no other friendly units, excluding vehicles, so it doesn't work on Callidia scrap tanks, which is important because that would be super disgusting. If there are no other friendly units within 6 inches of the attacking unit, you get +1 to hit and wound. And it's on fucking everything. And if we will remember, Adeptus Custodes are an army where their minimum like unit cost is like 250 points. So the number of times that you are within 6 inches of the rest of your army is already relatively low. And now we're just getting army-wide +1 to wound on every attack. This works on your guns. This works on your melee. This works on your Anathema Psychona units. This works on fucking everything. This detachment ability for Adeptus Custodes specifically seems incredible. Like so many times, there's just Custodian Wardens and Blade Champions running across the table all by themselves and just like tanking a flank and then charging out. Or charging to like apart from each other, 2 separate things. You use combat movement, you get outside the range, the 6-inch range, and then you kick the shit out of your opponent. It lets you punch through hit modifiers as well, which is good because Custodes are a little bit limited in the number of rerolls they get. It also incentivizes you to take like lone independent units, like little Alaris custodians and little tiny like captains that teleport around. This detachment ability, look, and like bikers that you can like jump around and stuff. What the fuck? +1 to hit and wound, chat. The +1 to hit is not, it's not good, but I wouldn't say it's worthless because there's, shooting into stealth, right? You suddenly don't care. Shooting into smoke screens, shooting into like -1 to hit effects, if you're fighting under Nurglings or whatever. Oh, you get to punch through all that stuff. It just makes your army so much more consistent in a wide variety of matchups. It's great. Whoa. Yeah. Enhancements are great as well. Superior Creation, you get a 2+ regen with full wounds remaining. There are also ways to reuse your used once per game abilities, so you can potentially come back with your used damage reduction effect on your Alaris Shield Captain, which is wild. Praesidius gives you lone operatives and stealth. Phenomenal for little independent guys running around. It feels like you want to be taking a couple of independent characters who run around. Fierce Conqueror gives you +2 to the attack's characteristic of melee weapons equipped by the bearer for every 5 enemy models within 6 inches of the bearer. That one's a little bit tougher to trigger. It does check at the start of the fight phase, so it's after you've charged. So, as long as you don't like shoot a target and you're fighting like 5 infantry, you will get the benefit. But again, I guess it's good for like a character who's going to be just in a small unit and running around sort of by themselves. I think you want to be taking like 2-man units plus characters a lot of times in this army, or just the independent character itself. What this does feel like is like an almost strictly better version of Auric Champions, which is a little funny, like poor Auric Champions, because a lot of the abilities have overlap, right? It has essentially the same detachment ability, except instead of choosing one target and only affecting characters, it's basically everyone most of the time and affects your whole army. It also has a directly copied stratagem. It's just better Auric Champions, yeah, for sure. And last but certainly not least, Admona Mortis. What a great name for an enhancement. +3 strength, +1 AP, +1 damage on a shield captain. Holy fuck. So you're probably strength 10, AP 3 damage, most likely, based on whatever you're taking. If that's on like a jet bike captain, right? You're swinging at strength 10 lance, AP 3 damage. Shield captain also goes on bike captains. Yeah, the shield captain on the Dawn Eagle jet bike captain is a shield captain model. He's got the keywords too. Yeah, these all the enhancements look phenomenal. I guess like depending on the cost, right? But like I would have a tough time fitting all of them into an army, to be perfectly candid with you. Stratagems. As you mentioned in chat, the stratagems are kind of whatever. Gilded Champion gives you, after you use a once per battle ability, you can pay a CP to unlock its use again. I don't love this stratagem. This is a direct copy from Auric Champions. It's literally just the same stratagem, and they moved it over to this detachment. I don't like it as much. I don't like it. I like the ability, the effect, but I don't like the timing. I wish it could be used proactively to unlock the ability rather than reactively. So I wish it was like at the start of any phase, like target an Adeptus character model from your army. That has used its once per battle ability. You can use the ability again. The way it works right now is you target them just after, so immediately upon using a once per battle ability, you can then use that again. So if your opponent is able to kill you in the interim before you're able to trigger that ability again, it is not great. But what I guess what you can do is like, you can use like damage reduction on your shield, your Terminator captain, and then like in the shooting phase, and then if your opponent sets up to charge you, you can use it again in the fight phase. So like maybe there's some use cases, and honestly, like it is a good stratagem, and most of the time you aren't losing a unit plus a character in Adeptus Custodes. That actually is like kind of rare, but it does like just put a huge target on that guy's head. You're like, I'm gonna use my once per game again. Your opponent's like, not if I can help it, and then kills that guy. So I don't know. It is what it is. The Auric is 2 CP. Oh, is it really? Wait, I thought it was a copy. Is that true? Wait, the Auric Champions one is worse? No way. You are pulling my leg, chat. I thought these were just the same ability. God, who wrote Auric Champions? What a fucking shit show of a detachment. Where is it at? Oh my god. You're so right, chat. What the fuck? This stratagem sucks. Oh my god. The only thing you're missing out of this detachment is the 4+ field opaid strat. Otherwise, who cares? Fuck, what the hell? Oh, I guess like hit and wound rerolls against monsters and vehicles, but you have +1 to hit and wound in your whole army. Who cares? Like, you're gonna kill the vehicles anyway. Man, Auric Champions was conceptually so cool. They bungled it so hard they had to come out with a separate content drop to release the corrected version. Jesus Christ. Yeah, I mean this one is also theoretically once per game, right? Because you'll use it on each character once. So if it was restricted to Warlord, it would only be once per game, but it doesn't really matter. Unleashed Alliance is back. This is an old stratagem from previous editions. It lets your Alaris Custodians split into individual units with a single model with a starting strength of 1. It's super cute if, for example, like your opponent has like a super MSU army and you have a big Terminator unit that you don't want to overcommit into single target. You can just be like, boop, we've split them, let's go. You do have to use it when they're on the battlefield, so you can't like, you have to rapid ingress them preemptively to get them in a position to then split and go different directions. And as I said before, there's just literal anti-synergy in this effect with the detachment ability, because suddenly all of your individual Terminator units are immediately within 6 inches of each other, so they have to move super far away to actually benefit from the detachment ability. So I think this is more cute than good. This will, to be perfectly honest, probably not get played that often. But it is cute. It's nice to see it come back. Maneuver and Fire gives you fallback, shoot, and charge. Always good to have. Swift as an Eagle is the Star Shatter Arsenal reactive move. It doesn't work on vehicles, but it just after a unit is shot, you can move d6 inches if you are targeted. That's great. That's a great strat. It's good for splitting 2 men's for actions. Oh, I get that. Actually, that's not too bad. Yeah, that's fair. Because you get to draw your cards, right? And you'll be like, oh, I drew containment, so I'll take the 2 man here. One of them will go do the thing, and the other guy will go fight. Yeah. All right. Although, if you have like 2 guys in a character, right? It splits the character off automatically. So he just fucking leaves. You can't split the Alaris Custodians into like 2 one-mans, and one has an attached character, because the character is part of the unit, so he just becomes a single unit all by himself. Yeah, that's weird. Taking a 4-man and split it straight away, do the job sisters usually do. That's so expensive though. Sisters are cheap. I don't know. I think this reactive move is really good though, because I think that there's going to be situations where, for example, it's the go turn with Blade Champion Warden units, or any Warden unit, realistically, where they use their 4+ Feel No Pain. Your opponent then, instead of trying to kill them, has to consider that they maybe don't even attempt it, because if they do, towards the end of their shooting phase, you're just going to move closer to them and then make a really easy charge. Or like take their objectives because they're OC3. Like, Or obviously you can like lose one dude and then hide behind terrain, like the obvious stuff you can do with this stratagem. But I think in the faction of models who are independently super hard to kill in one activation, this stratagem fucking rules. You can also do it like, I mean, it feels like the Terminator. It's like trying to push you to play 3 individual Terminator captains, because you can like deploy one in the front of your opponent's face. They go, I'll shoot that guy, and you're like, I'm gonna use my once per game, reduce to 1 damage, take a little bit of damage, then reactive move forward, then like take their home objective, kill their little tiny like 10-man unit that's on the objective or whatever. There's a lot of really weird stuff you can do with this detachment. I don't believe that this is quite as straightforwardly powerful as Solar Spearhead, but I do think that this detachment is fucking rad. I'm kind of like, man, all of the love that Custodes have been getting in the last couple of updates, I'm like, no, I kind of want the Custodes now. I was looking at some really cool Custodes armies too, but now I kind of just want a Custodian army. Oh, they look so fun to play, chat. 21 Terminators. Why stop there? Why stop at 21? We could take 36, right? Just go all in. Fuck it. Who cares? Not sure if it's the most powerful. Yeah, it feels like a shield host kind of to me. I think that it's like way trixier, and there's going to be weird times where it's like it becomes way more annoying for your opponent to deal with. But obviously, it doesn't have the same like upper level of ridiculous damage, and obviously, it's also not just like Solar Spearhead stuff. But Solar Spearhead, as we saw over the weekend, ran into some really awkwardly bad matchups that this wouldn't have an issue with. So maybe if people are answering it, maybe it's time to flip over. Way better scoring, yeah, for sure. Yeah, I love this one. I love it. Oh, man. That's good stuff. Should we call it a day, chat? Should we turn off the live stream? And we talked about points updates, rules changes to Space Marine units, whole new detachments for Tau and Custodes, and that other faction, Orcs, that also exists. What else could there possibly be to discuss? Oh, a new Codex release. Huh. I wonder what that could be. Could it maybe be this fucking wild Demons Index? Yeah, so for those who looked at the Demons Munitorum Field Manual and mauled it out, I see you. You are heard. And I had exactly the same experience. I looked at the Demons update and I was like, why the fuck did Shalaxi Hellband go down 50 points? Why is Be'lakor like unplayably expensive now? His top line profile is the worst in the entire faction. He's like borderline playable at 325. He's 375 now. That's fucking dumb. Flesh Hounds went up. A bunch of stuff got legended. Every single Slanesh Chariot unit got legended. So a bunch of utility units and powerful characters got removed from the faction. What the fuck is going on? This is a different index now. All the words are different in it, essentially. It's fucking wild, dude. So the Shadow of Chaos and all that normal stuff, that is all the same. Demonic Incursion is unchanged. However, if we will notice, there's another detachment in here. This was also not called out in any of the change documents. They did talk about it in the article, but I was reading this before the article came out, and I had no idea that this was hiding inside the Demon Index update. I thought the Demon Index update had just removed all the Seeker Chariots, and I was like, well, that's stupid. What a boring and silly thing. Nope, there's an entire new detachment in here, and basically like 30% of the datasheets have been ground up rewritten. So let's talk about datasheets first, and then we will move on from there. I think the important one to talk about is at the bottom of the list, because it's fucking Be'lakor, dude. Oh my god. So the reason that this guy is 325 points, I apologize if this is too zoomed in. Let's zoom that out quite a bit because he is really big. Here he is. The reason that this is he's 375 points, chat, is that all these numbers have changed, and most of them have gotten higher, which is cool. So he's toughness 11 rather than toughness 10 now. He has a 3+ save rather than a 4+ save. He has 20 wounds rather than 18. Although I will die on the hill that is a fucking huge nerf, because he now gives up extra 6 points on Bring It Down. which sucks, but, you know, it is what it is. He has the Shadow of Chaos aura, and his Shadow form abilities have been entirely rewritten. His melee weapons have also been improved. His sweep, I believe... his sweep has sustain now. Jesus, okay. And then his strike traded lethal hits for devastating wounds and an extra attack. All right. I did like the lethal hits because it like felt like your math was a little bit nicer because he's huge AP. He's going to punch through your armor saves anyway. I think the math is probably about the same between devastating and lethal on that profile into most of the attacks, the profiles that you're going to be swinging into, because a lot of them will have like mediocre invulnerable saves. However, the extra attack I think just makes him like strictly better at fighting. Plus his sweep attack is way better now. And now his Primarch abilities, his Shadow form abilities, which are still chosen at the start of the battle round, are way better. First of all, he retained Wreathed in Shadow. That is exactly the same as it was. Previously, you just locked him in Wreathed in Shadow, and then on like round 5, he would be like, oh, I forced 1 extra battle shock suck on somebody. Who cares? So at a baseline, Be'lakor has gotten a dramatic statistical improvement and retains his defensive aura. However, if you want to kill people, he's way better at it now. He can use Pall of Despair, which usually to just make him Death Leaper. He got Death Leaper's ability, which was bad. But now, it's in the Battle Shock step of your opponent's command phase. If an enemy unit is below its starting strength, is within 9 inches, not 6 inches, so it's way bigger, that you must take a Battle Shock tech. In addition, for each enemy unit that fails a Battle Shock check within 9, for any reason, by the way, so that works on both the Pall of Despair Battle Shock checks, standard Battle Shock checks, which, to be fair, do not stack with Pall of Despair. I want to keep that, make that clear. But also, when you start forcing Battle Shock checks on enemies through other abilities, Be'lakor regains D3 wounds. So, all right. In addition, in fairness, that will probably be the least played of the 3, because the other one is Shadow Lord, which gives everyone within 6 inches of him reroll hit rolls of 1. We did it, chat. We fucking got rerolls in Demons. Oh my god, it happened. The downside is obviously you will probably not get them early, which is where you do kind of want them, because you are going to be using the defensive aura to keep your guns alive from shooting rather than buffing them. But when it becomes like Battle Round 3, Battle Round 4, and the armies are fighting, and you get very little use out of the 18-inch Lone Operative aura, suddenly your army does dramatically more damage, because like almost literally everything in Demons hits on 2s and just gets like screwed by spikes of 1s, and Be'lakor now can just be like, no, we're not doing that here. We're going to actually be effective and not just like feel like an army full of big stupid doofuses. Be'lakor heard my anguish. It's true. I made a dark pact with Be'lakor, and I automatically passed it and gained sustained hits. Did Seekers get rolled into the mounted unit? Like Chariots? No. Seekers are the mounted unit. Is that what you mean? All right. So that's Be'lakor. Let's talk about the other data sheets that changed. Khorne has gotten almost a total overhaul. Almost every Khornate data sheet has changed. Scarbrand, I think, is the most impactful. He is the same points value, which is blowing my mind right now. He didn't go up in points, which he might need to. He went from being a slow demon that you had to deep strike to get in, so he almost always took a rapid ingress or needed Be'lakor to deliver him, to being one of the fastest models in the faction. It's wild. He went up 2 movement, so he went from move 8 to move 10, and advances and charges automatically without needing any buffs. He doesn't need anything else. His Flamer almost doubled in strength. It went from strength 5 AP 0 to strength 8 AP 1 for 2d6 shots. Holy shit. His attacks characteristics are, I believe, identical, except, bear with me, his +1 attack aura lost all of its restrictions. So it used to be Khorne Legionis Demonica within 6 inches, except for monsters, gained +1 attack. Now it's everything, which means he affects himself. So he has 9 strike attacks at 6 damage, or 17 sweep attacks at 2 damage. He will also affect your Bloodthirsters and your demon princes. Does the update affect the bird flu list? I think it makes it worse, actually. But we'll see. Because it makes red and clean ones way more expensive. Although they're way harder to kill now, so we'll talk about that. Yeah, also 3+ save on all the Khorne Greater Demons, so they can gain cover now. They might not just take random, like, 12 damage to bolter shots out of nowhere. I think Scarbrand... I'm so happy about this because I have a painted Scarbrand, and I almost immediately removed him from my army after I played a couple games and was like, he keeps fucking missing. But now he has access to reroll ones, and he has more attacks than he did previously, and he's easier to deliver. Like, Scarbrand seems like a windmill slam. He's 300 points. Like, it's fucking wild, dude. This model is crazy. Bloodthirsters got a similar sort of statistical improvement. They went up to a 3+ save, although most of their other stuff is, I believe, the same. I didn't notice any changes here. They can be buffed by both Scarbrand and Be'lakor now, though, so that's a big deal. Yeah, so that's neat. Good job, Bloodthirster. Keep on keeping on. Keep doing your thing. I'm proud of you, buddy. The only problem is 20 wounds. Yeah, the 20 wounds is going to be a problem, for sure. But you just have to not take enough characters for them to max assassination, and then you're probably doing okay. The only thing that gained 20 wounds was Be'lakor, I believe. All of the other character Greater Demons were already 20, so they didn't change at all. But Be'lakor went up from 18 to 20, which is, I think, a nerf, but it is what it is. All right, Skulltaker is the same. I believe the Bloodmaster is the same. The Skullmaster, I think, is also the same. The little stuff didn't really change. We did see some changes to blood letters. I actually think these guys got side graded a little bit. They went to movement 8, so they're better on the table. So blood. They're trying to make Blood Legion work, I think, with a lot of these speed improvements. But they lost their wound rerolls entirely. They just don't have that anymore. Instead, they do like a fucking desperate breakout if you fall back from them, which is a stupid ability. It's bad. So I don't know. They kind of side graded. Like, their top line's better, but their ability's worse. It is what it is. Sometimes you got like full wound rerolls when your opponent was hurting, and that was pretty nice, but you don't get that anymore. All the other stuff is mostly the same. Importantly, Blood Crushers retained their good version of Mortal Wounds. You roll a d6 for each model in the Blood Crusher unit to do Mortal Wounds, rather than each model in engagement range of the target, which is pretty impressive. Bloodthirster got 8 attacks base now. Only on the little axe. I believe that the little axe is the same. I mean, I can verify. The big axe was always 7. But you've always played Argath King of Blades, so it was 9. And then he would miss him anyway. Fucking asshole. Blood Crusher's down to a 5+ invuln. Oh, yeah, that's impactful, actually. But I bet... did they get an improved armor save? They did. Yeah, so they lost a point of invuln for a point of armor. Which is worse, but not like game-endingly worse, right? That's probably fine. They're now... like, I don't know, they're just different Direwolf Cavalry, I guess. Fleshhounds. This one blew my mind. So Fleshhounds used to have free heroic intervention, which was cute. They lost that for just guerrilla tactics from scouts. They're just up-down now. And they have deep strike, so they up-down into deep strike. This unit's fucking nuts. I don't know. They're just the best utility unit in Demons, for sure. In the game, maybe. It's like if Jump Pack Assault Intercessors had the scout like reserve ability. It's super strong. Yeah, I don't know what to say about them. You're already playing them. They cost 5 more points now, but like they also are just super. They fucking reshuffle themselves for free. You don't have to pay points for it in Demonic Incursion. That's wild. That's fucking crazy wild. Yeah. All in Fleshhounds. Let's go. Skull Cannons, I don't believe changed at all. They said there were some changes to Kairos. He now takes a leadership check at the end of your command phase to gain CP instead of doing it when you target models with stratagems. And he got Lord of Deceit baked in. Unfortunately for old Kairos here, his attack is the same. So while he will probably generate you 3 CP over the course of a game, he is still going to be like 300 and some odd points of literally not doing anything ever. So are CP worth 100 points each is the question. I think the answer is no, but I'm happy to be proven wrong, I guess. Unfortunately, the Tzeentch stuff basically didn't get changed at all as far as I can see. If anybody noticed any changes to the Tzeentch stuff, let me know. But I think they just forgot that the sub-faction existed, which is fair. They wrote Scintillating Legion, and it took them so much brain power that they just like wrote the rest of the sub-faction off. So, a little unfortunate, I guess. Would love to have seen some like improvements to like chariots and like I don't know why chariots like shoot one weapon. They cost as much as a gladiator and are easier to like, or I guess like at best a side grade to kill, but they have way worse guns. So I would like to have seen them like shoot both their guns or whatever. But it is what it is. I also would like to see a flat damage value on the lore change and some other changes, but we got changes elsewhere, so it's fine. Horror's got pistol. Oh, that's good actually. It was weird they got engaged and they didn't do anything. Yeah, okay. That's pretty solid. Flamers didn't, but they fall back and shoot, so it doesn't matter. We did blue horrors as well. Yeah. All right. Well, that's something. That makes the scintillating like the silly lists where you played like 60 pink horrors and just like stat checked your opponent out a little bit better. Nurgle, however, big old. Well, actually, let's talk about Nurgle after we talk about Slash, because Slash is really simple. Shalaxi Hellbane's dead. the they them queen has fallen, unfortunately. No longer full hit and wound rerolls literally all the time until forever. It's just the Emperor's Children datasheet. It's funny because a lot of people were telling me, and they're like, they have to update Shalaxi to be the same as the Emperor's Children datasheet because they don't have any models with multiple datasheets in the game that have different rules. I was like, well, sure they do. There's like the Immolator from Sister of Battle who has different abilities than the one in Agents of the Imperium. So they could just keep Shalaxi Hellbane the same and do other stuff, and everyone's like telling me no. And I was like, well, whatever. They did update this model to the Emperor's Children version, so it's really bad, kind of borderline playable, I think. And however, it still has all of the demon abilities, so and it gains the Shadow of Chaos and stuff. I also wonder if there is any synergy. I bet there is somewhere with, I guess you don't get Shadow of Chaos if you're not in a demon army, right? So the fact that they have Greater Demon of Slash and could be played in other factions, I don't think matters, but it is funny that it's just baked into the datasheet now. A little bit easier to work out. Shining Aegis turned to a 3+ armor save instead of the 5+ feel no pain, which I think everyone was worried about because that was kind of what was keeping Keepers of Secrets relevant. That got removed. Their kind of bad weapon profiles are all still there, and they don't get the full rerolls from Legion of Excess anymore. So I think the Slaanesh sub-faction is kind of dead on arrival here. They did have some changes to Demonettes. So the Transweaver now grants the Demonette ability to reroll on objectives, which they used to have baked in. Demonettes gained an ability to force battle shock checks at the start of the phase. They also gained Fight First baked in on their profile, which does make them that's mechanically different than the other Demonettes, right? Than the Emperor's Children ones. Interesting. But obviously the battle shock check is relevant because you're playing demons, so you might be forcing people to take Shadow of Chaos checks. Fiends got the new Fiend ability where they just like force Desperate Escape, which is bad. So it all got the Emperor's Children treatment. I think this subfaction's just fucking dead. Like, they're really fast, but they're no longer fast and hard to kill, which was the interesting place where they were sitting, where they were like this kind of tar pit, where they could come in and they could dodge around your attacks. They could come in, like, engage a unit, dodge around your attacks, do some, like, moderate damage, right? It was 10 3 damage attacks, which is good against heavy infantry, bad against larger stuff. But they aren't that hard to kill anymore. They're just a regular demon. And so I think they're just going to die, probably, but we'll see. I don't know. Yeah, the whole sub-faction got kind of turbo nuked. But it's not all bad, chance, because holy shit, Nurgle. Oh my god. So first off, if we will take a quick peek here, I believe many of the Nurgle units, I don't think the little ones did. I'm gonna verify for myself here. They didn't, but the greater demons gained a baked-in Feel No Pain. So previously, you had to play a Great Unclean One with your big Nurgle demons to give, like, Rodigus, for example, a Feel No Pain. Now, he has the Feel No Pain baked in. That's great. In addition, the Great Unclean One also has a phenomenally more powerful aura. So he no longer gives all your demons Feel No Pains, which is not as exciting for Plague Bearers and stuff. However, he gives them +1 toughness instead, while they're within 6 inches. So a single Great Unclean One running like Soul Grinders and Rodigus and stuff can make an entire front line of between T12 and T13 monsters, which is quite a bit. The Grotsmas Nurgle looking pretty good. Yeah, I don't disagree, for sure. You have like T6 Plague Bearers. They don't have the awkward Feel No Pain to like eat 2 damage attacks, but being toughness 6 is like a huge breakpoint, right? And it's the same for like a lot of the little stuff. I think like Plague Drogers go to T9. There's like it's at the very least, the Endless Gift guy, Ed went up like 50 points or something. Endless Gift went up 15, and he went up 20, so he went up 35 points. However, he gained a point of toughness, which is, I think, certainly worth that at the very least. His sword got a statistical improvement. I think the flail also got an improvement. I think it went to AP2. It used to be AP1, I believe. The sword also went up to strength 10 from strength 8, so that's also a buff as well. Yeah, that's great. I don't believe that like Rodigus has changed. I think he's the same. But oh no, his strength went up as well on top of that. So he is strength 10, AP 3 damage, which can go to 4 damage if he buffs himself with his aura. It's also Nurgle, so if you're playing multiple Great Unclean Ones, you can debuff enemies to make them worse. And then also when they're fighting together, they're both T13. He doesn't have to worry about standing near the Guo for the Feel No Pain. Yeah, so he's really good. The Nurglings gained -1 to hit on all non-Titanic. And it triggers on fight phase selection. So it's a better timing and affects more units. Also, this unit went down in points. Can auras stack? Auras cannot stack. No. But what does stack with Great Unclean Ones, and the reason that they're funny, is that their targeted ability, Nurgle's Rot, doesn't apply a named effect, so it does stack. So their defensive aura is exclusive, so you only get +1 toughness regardless of how many Great Unclean Ones you have. Their offensive aura you can stack multiple times in a single enemy unit, which is sick. So, oh yeah, Nurglings isn't an aura anymore. Yeah, it's in engagement range. So it affects basically everything. It affects monsters and vehicles now. It's not a 6-inch aura. But it also affects them for the entire activation. Because one weird thing that happened with Nurglings previously was that if you killed the Nurglings halfway through your attack sequence, they actually you got rid of the -1 to hit because it didn't have like a trigger timing. Basically, it was like a persistent effect, which means or a passive effect, which means that if you removed it, it would just go away. So now if you fight, you're locked into the -1. You just have to play more aggressively with your Nurglings, essentially. But the fact that you can, like, charge in, right? You're playing T13 fucking Great and Clean ones. You can charge, like, something stupid, right? Like fucking Angron or something. Give him -1 to hit with the Nurglings, and then make him hit a T13 4+ Feel No Pain Great and Clean one. And so, like, if you use them in tandem rather than as like a little support unit, they're going to be more effective. They're also, did I mention before, they're fucking cheaper now. They're 12 points a model, 11.3 or whatever, which is wild. And otherwise they're the same, right? They don't get the Feel No Pain, so the huge brick of guys with the Feel No Pain isn't quite as good, but they get T4, which is actually kind of annoying for strength 4, strength 6 anti-infantry shooting to clear out. So it's like a side grade on survivability. And I would say I think a side grade on their ability as well. And they're cheaper. Fuck. This is a good unit. Holy shit. Rodagus's debuff aura is different. What changed about it? Did I miss something? Oh, it used to be half move and objective control, and now it's -2 move and -1 objective control. Right? Is that right? Is that what it used to do? That's actually way better. Hold up. Where you at, Rodagus? Let's look at your old data sheet. Oh, man. This faction looks so good now, chat. It used to be half move and objective control. Half versus -1 is like a slight debuff, but half objective control, -1 objective control is almost strictly better than half objective control. It only isn't quite as good for knights and stuff, like big single entity, like high OC stuff. Although he'll still beat an Armiger on OC on an objective. And he removes OC1 from contention at all. So OC1 cannot take an objective from Rodagus ever. And his other ability used to be 18 inches and went to 24. That's I guess a little bit of a buff. Nice little quality of life, I guess. Yesterday I said, yeah, I know. Somebody heard me and was like, just wait. Just wait. And I was so ready to be vindicated. I was like, I don't like demons anymore. I don't want to play them. Oh, they also went up 100 points? Fuck this faction. It sucks. It's bad. Turns out, pretty good when you buff literally like every relevant data sheet in the faction. Yeah. Right, not a minimum of 0. Well, OC is always a minimum of 0. You can't be -1 OC. But it turns OC1 to OC0. Which I think is more relevant than like beating out like single entity high OC stuff. You know what I mean? Because more often than not, greater demons get objectives contested by 5 Space Marines, like 5 OC1 guys. Rodagus just says it doesn't happen anymore, which is great. Just when I thought I was out, for sure. All right, them's the data sheets, chat. I don't believe I've seen any changes to the other data sheets, but I'm sure somebody will post if I have missed any. Again, none of these were fucking written out, so we're having to parse them all individually. I believe all of the undivided stuff is the same. Obviously not Bellicor. Yeah, I think it's all the same. Anyway, let's talk about the new detachment that they have. Beasts got 6-inch scout. Did they really? Wait, what? Fucking beasts were so widely played too. They fucking did. Oh my god. Jesus Christ. And they could be T10 if you're next to a Great Unclean one. Holy shit. What the fuck? Okay. Just little scouting friends, indeed. They already had a leader option. Horticulus Limux was always a leader for beasts. He's like kind of a meme too. For a while, people were like, "Don't take Be'lakor, take Horticulus Limux to spread your Shadow of Chaos." It's like, all right, man. I mean, I guess. He is hard to kill. He can get to toughness 11 with a Great Unclean one now, and he hits kind of hard. He has a bunch of 3 damage melee attacks, which is cute. He's a cute guy. And he's, I think, relatively inexpensive for how much he does. But he's also very big, which is a little bit awkward, and mounted with a low movement, which is really hard to maneuver. So I don't know. All right. The new thing. Here we go. So, new detachments is Shadow Legion. So this was a previous detachment that existed in 9th edition. Or a sub-faction, you could play Be'lakor in to combo Chaos Space Marine and Demon units together in a single faction. So now the tables have turned. Demons are now the one allying in the Chaos Space Marines. I also actually wonder, there's no Chaos Space Marine FAQ, right? Oh, actually, did they change how demonic pacts work? No. Chat, you can take any Slaanesh demon unit in Emperor's Children still. I actually had to go double check that. That's super funny. I expected that to change because they released Munitorum for Emperor's Children. Huh. All right. Well, let's not think about that for too long. Keeps OC1 stuff from doing strats. Well, that's not true. Yeah. Only Battle Shock prevents strats, but it also makes you OC0. But those aren't connected. But it does prevent you from doing actions, which is actually sick. Yeah, but -1 OC is like a phenomenal upgrade for sure. I don't know. Somebody's gonna make an argument that it like ruins their play against knights or something, but like in literally every other matchup, it's a strict upgrade. That whole page is going in the next Dataslate. You think so? You think they will remove demonic allies? Not from Chaos Space Marines. Chaos Space Marines demonic allies is like classic. I don't know. You would think that they would just remove the Emperor's Children cutout for it, right? But I don't know. That is weird. I guess what is the official like street release date of the Emperor's Children Codex? Because that's when we would know. Anyway, I don't want to talk about it too much because I expect that to be changed. What we're talking about right now is the Shadow Legion detachment. So this allows you to take up to 1,000 points in a Strike Force game of Chaos Space Marines. This includes Lords, Terminator Lords, Jump Pack Lords, Terminators, Chosen, Damned, Dark Apostles, Havocs, Legionnaires, Master Possession, Possessed, Raptors, Sorcerers, Terminator Sorcerers, and Warp Talones. We're missing vehicles, I guess, is like the big thing. And we're missing any of the cult units. But that's not a huge deal. And obviously Epic Heroes, which is not surprising. In addition, depending on which allegiance you have, your demon units gain a special ability. Khorne units can advance and charge, just base built in all the time. Tzeentch units are -1 to be hit by all attacks. Nurgle units have the transhuman bodyguard effect, so the -1 of wound if your strength is higher than their toughness characteristic, which is phenomenal. Slaanesh units cannot be overwatched, and undivided units, which includes there is a cutout for what gains undivided. It is all of your Heretic Astartes and Be'lakor as well. Undivided units retain their dark pacts and can deep strike. That means Be'lakor can Dark Pact, and there's a cutout for him in the bottom here. If he automatically passes his own leadership check for Dark Pacting. He's like, hey, Be'lakor, would you like to provide me some additional sustained or lethal hits? Okay, other Be'lakor, I definitely think I will. You seem like a stand-up guy who will definitely use them to slay my enemies. Thanks, Be'lakor. You're welcome, Be'lakor. And especially, I guess, like, it's a little bit funny because his sweep sword already has sustained, but lethal's an upgrade, and you also get it on your gun, which is like devastating wound, ignore cover gun, which is phenomenal. That's very good. And you can sustain his big, huge, devastating sword attack, which is also phenomenal. So his damage improves not insignificantly thanks to that, and you also still get to use your Chaos Space Marine Army ability. Fucking sick, dude. What do we got in stratagems here? Some of these are pretty wild. A Shadow Legion unit that was just destroyed can explode and do mortal wounds. You get additional bonus if you're a Slanesh unit. It's like an auto explode kind of deal, but not quite as much. Inside engagement range, it's whatever. You might use that to finish something off, maybe if you kill it, but I don't know. Any of the stratagems, it's like pay FCP and maybe not get any benefit. It's not that great. Channeled Wrath gives you Lance. If you are Khorne, you get +1 AP. It's almost literally Honor the Chapter. Super good. That's very good. That is how you say extremely strong. Death Denied is the Tzeentch stratagem. You regain 3 wounds on a model in your unit in your command phase. If you are a Tzeentch unit, you also return a model to the unit, which is very rarely relevant. It's like very good on flamers and screamers, I guess. It is less good on everywhere else, but it also lets you like repair your hazardous checks for your big guys and stuff. Although I don't know if you're playing. There's a little bit of incentive to play Lords of Change in this detachment, but it's not great. You might be playing Flamers, though. Like, getting Flamers back for a CP is not too bad. Encroaching Darkness. You pick up to 1 Shadow Legion Heretic Astartes and 1 Legiones Demonica unit. They gain Ignore Cover until the end of the shooting phase. If they arrive from reserves that turn, and don't forget, everything in the army has Deep Strike, including the Heretic Astartes units, which is also important because we can strat reserve them. Shade Path is usable in your opponent's charge phase after a unit declares a charge. If you are selected as a target of the charge, you can give -2 to charge rolls for the charging enemy unit. In addition, if you are Nurgle, they have to take a battle shock test, which would then prevent them from rerolling the charge with command reroll if they fail, and also maybe do damage to them. Maybe they die also. It is 2 CP, but the timing's really weird because almost every other instance of this style of ability triggers at the beginning of the phase, and it targets your unit. So you target a unit at the start of the phase that gives enemies charging it -2. This one reactively does the -2. So it does the -2 before your opponent has, after your opponent has declared. So they already have to roll that charge out. So your opponent has to position with the consideration that you may at any time debuff the charge of their big melee unit. And if they fail, suddenly you deep strike a bunch of havocs on them and ignore cover and kill them. 2 CP is a lot, chat, but I think it's mostly there for the threat of it, you know what I mean? Last and certainly not least, Binding Shadow is an uppy downy. It's up to 1 Heretic Astartes and up to 1 Legiones Demonica unit. So a 2-unit uppy downy as long as you choose 1 of each, or it's just any 1. They go into strategic reserves, everything deep strike, so they come back down using the deep strike rules. Super good. Super duper good. So I think you want to be playing like, there's maybe a little gun guys, maybe some gun dudes. You can play like light units. You don't have good delivery systems for like legionnaires and shit, which it does feel a little bit bad. Did I miss the stratagem where you murder people? I did not. Oh no, it's enhancement. Where's the enhancements at? Oh yeah, this is the old thing where they're at the bottom. There are some enhancements as well. You can have 9-inch scout. Okay, on anything. Crit and clean one? Fuck it, who cares? Fucking Fleshhounds, fine. Legionaries, with a lord in them. I guess the Fleshhounds, because you can't attach character to them anymore. But yeah, I don't know. It's 9-inch scout on fucking anything you want. Cool. All right. On whatever the character's unit is has in it. Mantle of Gloom. While an enemy unit is in engagement range of the bear's unit, gets -1 OC. That one's fine, but kind of a filler, I imagine. Fade to Darkness. At the end of the fight phase, this is the one that I think people are excited about. At the end of the fight phase, if the bear's unit destroyed one or more enemy units this phase and it is not within engagement range of one or more enemy units, you can remove it from the battlefield and place it into strategic reserve. So it automatically up-downs after killing someone at the end of the fight phase. I think this is better on... Well, first of all, you can put it on like a Bloodthirster. And that's pretty good. You know, that's all right. It doesn't require that you're leading a unit, so if you did it. You can also put it on things like Chaos Lord with Legionaries or something to just like hop them when they kill somebody. You can put it on Bloodletters as well. Don't forget all the corn stuff advances and charges, so it's really fast. You could put it on fucking 6 Blood Crushers with a Skullmaster. They're probably going to kill the thing that they charge because they're going to do 1 trillion mortal wounds to it on the charge too. I guess it gets awkward if they accidentally kill what they charged with mortals. Then they get stuck there, but that's unlikely. Malice Made Manifest is the last one. At the start of the fight phase, you select an enemy unit within engagement range. It might take mortal wounds. It's like, okay, I guess. 9-inch Scout Grand Clean one, yeah, right? That one feels like a... I kind of like the idea of like Legionnaires with that one. You could also do Plague Bearers with the Plague Bearer character, and they could obsec the center objectives and then run away. That's probably really strong. Fuck, these enhancements rule. Holy shit. Yeah, I don't know. Grand Clean and Beast scouting up a flank. Yeah, I don't disagree. The Grid and Clean one is very funny. I do wonder... I think that people will maybe overestimate his survivability with the T13 because he still doesn't have a save, and his Feel No Pain doesn't really matter that much. It's like +3 wounds, right? Maybe 4 with a 6+ Feel No Pain. So he'll still go down. He's not Ed. Like Ed now is fucking super duper unkillable. In the times where previously he would take random damage from failed las cannon shots, now he doesn't do that, which is like wild. You have to either like just roll out super hard anti-tank into him, or like just roll a bunch of 5s with like strength 7 weapons. Which is really awkward. It's an awkward breakpoint. You want strength 5 plus 1 to wound. Or strength 4 plus 1 to wound and go. He does get +1 to wound, or -1 to wound if the strength is higher. Yeah. How many like strength 14 weapons are there though? Not many. Strength 12 is like the average for anti-tank weapons. It's like railguns wound him on 4s, I guess. But they have like baked in rerolls anyway. Like Doomsday Arcs are kind of sad. It's not much. Vindicators? Oh yeah, Vindicators is pretty good actually. That's fair. You'll beat their Oath the moment. At least they won't wound you on fucking 2s. That's so stupid. But yeah, this detachment seems so fucking tricksy. It supercharges Bellicor. Bellicor himself is really powerful in this detachment. I think the advance in charge on the corn stuff like permanently is fucking awesome. And you get up down with like actual guns in a demon detachment. Plus, I guess the important thing to consider is that we can just play the normal like demonic incursion game plan. Where like so demonic incursion usually turn 1, turn 2 wants to like maneuver its ranged attacks around the table to pick away at like utility units or like pick away at big units, and then use movement blockers like Nurglings or Seekers to prevent enemies from coming in and being able to attack you. So you get to trade up a couple of turns in advance, and then you dump the greater demons on them round 3 and round 4. This detachment does that, but it can do it with like 15 havocs. So might be good. I don't know. Like, you can teleport 5 Havocs and Bellicor every turn for a CP. I guess importantly, you can't take Scarbrand, which is relevant. Which also means you can't take Kairos. But I bet there's some spice in here, chat. 30 pink horse with -1 to hit. I don't disagree. That's another unit that could take a 9-inch scout. You could put it on a Flux Master, and he's like shooting you with devastating wounds every turn too. Too scared to give Obliterators. Oh, that's true. Actually, Obliterators would have been dumb. But like, Chaos Demons having access to almost any variety of like 48-inch range, legitimately powerful shooting, even if it's only Havocs, right? Who, in fairness, are decidedly mediocre, is kind of crazy because you can set up situations where the Havocs get to shoot you and never be shot back because of Bellicor. And 3 Havoc units is like the same cost as an Everstave guy, right? So like, you're not even like paying that many more points for having 12 las cannons instead of like a dumb 9-shot D3 damage gun. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of interesting stuff in this detachment, chat, and it's really fucking cool. You can even just run AC/DC, I guess. Do you want to run AC/DC though? It doesn't really have any synergy. I guess you can get Lance. They don't advance and charge. They do advance and charge the once per game. But they don't have any bonuses. Maybe it's fine. You can regenerate guys. Well, you can't regenerate guys. They're not Zinchi. Yeah, I don't know. I think there's a lot of ways you can take it. Might kill 5 scouts. Yeah. Could you imagine? Could you imagine killing 5 scouts? Yeah. Who's Ed? Ed is the Great Unclean one with the Endless Gift in Demonic Incursion. He's just like a big dumb idiot. He's got the Endless Gift. So he's 4+ feel no pain and 20 wounds, and now T13. So he just glumps around, and now strength 10 in melee, which is wild. It was funny looking at his sword because the Bile Sword on the Great Unclean one is like physically enormous, like the actual miniature. It's like 3 or 4 inches long. It's enormous. It's a huge thing. And then you would hit people, and they're like, "Oh, what's his strength? Like 12?" And you're like, "It's strength 8. It's only strength 8." But it's lethal hits. Oh, chat. I'm excited for Chaos Demons. It's wild because it feels like they just re-released the faction 3 times between the initial release plus the Grotsmas drop plus this drop. Like, I feel like I could go back to just playing Demonic Incursion, and I instead of taking Shalaxi, I take Scarbrand, and my army remains relatively unchanged, except most of the data sheets are better. But also there's a whole new detachment here, and also like Plague Legion looks way better. Like a lot of the detachments look way better, so I don't know. Hoping you'd have to build a flail on my model. No, so I have 3 Great Unclean ones. One of them has a flail. They're all 3D printed. One of them has a flail, but it's like a big whippy thing. I don't know. I just tell people it's the knife. The other ones have 2 melee weapons. Because I was going to play Bird Flu, and then I realized that Bird Flu was actually really bad. If it wasn't for a Bring It Down Assassination, it would be probably super good. But the problem is some of my opponents would max all their secondaries every game against me. That was really sad. Yeah, I don't know. I don't even think that list works anymore because the Great Unclean ones are way more expensive now. But in any case, I think there is a lot of interesting stuff to play with. What weapons do you take on Havocs? That's a great question. I was thinking las cannons because demons tend to be good at killing infantry, and they have a tougher time with high toughness stuff. So laser guns may be the way to go, but I don't know. I guess there is like, if you're getting ignore cover, maybe autocannons have a place, especially if you can Nurgle's Rot stuff. It's probably las cannons. You're getting 2 extra AP and more damage and strength for an extra shot, which I think is fine. I think it's almost certainly las cannons. You don't really need chain cannons because like all your greater demons just like accidentally kill infantry by themselves. I guess you could take like maybe 1 chain cannon and 2 lases or something and use whatever you need to at the time. I just don't want to be like beholden to using the ignore cover strat, I think, for the autocannons. Because I think the autocannons will have a penchant for doing literally nothing if you don't ignore cover with them. Because it's only 8 attacks, right? I don't know. We'll have to play around with it. I'm excited now, though. I am a little bit sad because Adepticon's coming up, so I have a bunch of stuff to do for Breachstorm. So I don't have the time to like dedicate to just playing a bunch of games, which I would love to do. But maybe I can find some games to get some games in all this weekend. Las Cannon all day. Las Cannon, get some sustained hits going. You can also, like, the Grin and Clean One debuff, like, pushes them to essentially Strength 13, which punches through a lot of, like, the T12 stuff, which demons traditionally kind of have a problem with, which is nice. I don't know. I'm excited for this attachment chat. I think it's gonna be awesome. Get around cover. Yeah, it's tough though. Yeah, like it requires very specific positions. Usually your opponent's not going to be like a silly goober and let you like you're angling for like discrete lines of sight essentially, and you also want to be positioning in such a way that your opponent can't shoot you back. So oftentimes the positioning is a lot like more like finagly than you think. I also wonder, I'll pull my Havoc data sheet back. I also wonder... Oh, just kidding. I was like, is there a universe where you take 10 Havocs? But there's not, because they are locked to units of 5 now. Just kidding! Otherwise, I think you could maybe consider if they could take extra units like Devastators can. I would consider taking the extra guys so you can string them to get the Bellacore buff. Demons aren't getting a Codex. I mean, this is the Codex. They have 6 detachments, and they rewrote all the data sheets to be less power crept, which is awesome. Now they have to do that to Tyranids. GW, can you re-release the Tyranid index with all the detachments in it, but with a bunch of strictly better data sheets, please? Please, James Workshop. Can my Norns be like strength 10 now? No one should have a Codex anymore. All indexes. I mean, I don't disagree. I think Codexes are bad and should feel bad, but I don't think that's a particularly hot take. Do I think the Khorne detachment is viable? Probably. The army in general being much faster, I think, helps quite a bit. Like you have higher base movement characteristics on the Bloodletter stuff. Like Scarbrand is a fucking insane thing. This Scarbrand data sheet is like blowing my mind. He was already I think already playable in the spot that Shalaxi takes up. If you want to get if you want to spend 120 less points for less consistency, and they were like, hey, how about we just don't do that? And he's just like better than he was. Oh, okay, well, cool. I guess I'll take him. Wild. Every time you tell somebody that they have to take 36 damage from his melee attacks, they're like, excuse me, what? Why? Why is it 36? Oh, well, you failed 6 saves out of... I handed you 8 at AP 4. You failed 6, and each one is 6 damage. Like, what, you mean D6 damage? No. Damage 6. 6 damage. You died. You're dead, and you've gone to heaven. Demon's got the best kind of Codex, the free kind. Indeed. The downside is it had to be drip fed over the course of like a year and a half. Oh man. Oof. Anyway, chance. I'm excited. I'm excited for demons. I'm excited for the new Custodes attachment. I think that's rad. I'm excited for. Well, I don't know if I should say I'm excited for the new Orc Detachment. It just feels like they replaced Tactical Brigade with a different version of Tactical Brigade, but it does look really good. The one thing I'm sad about is Space Marines. I think that the December update was so bad that they're trying to pick up the pieces. And it feels like it's going to take a little bit of work to like untangle the mess that was created by the Oath of Moment update. And in the interim, it feels like we're going to have another 3 months of literally Gladius Task Force Ultramarines being the only viable archetype. There might be some Vanguard stuff that gets played. Deathwatch seems okay. But like, do you want to play Liberator Assault Group? Like maybe, I guess. It's like if Pressure Melee is good, I guess it's okay, but it's probably a little expensive. They could have cut Sanguinary Guard like 5 points per model. I think it would have been okay. I don't know. I for one welcome our Ultramarine overlords, I guess. Carnifex is not knowing how to use their claws. Yeah, dude. I was talking to a very sweet new player at Ides of March. He was very excited. It was his first GT ever. And he was like, I'm playing Assimilation Swarm and I'm playing Carnifexes. I'm going to try them out. And I'm like, good luck, man. And he came up to me after the event and he was like, dude, I'll tell you, the Carnifexes Assimilation Swarm, not the way. I was like, yeah, man. I'm glad that you were able to ascertain the power level there, but yeah, that unit it's Invasion Fleet or bust for old One Eye, I think. Oof. Yeah, Ynnari we'll see, right? I think that it feels like that faction's still in kind of like a learning period because it's very difficult to play both with and against. And so it hasn't been like killing everyone yet, right? Like Aeldari's doing good. A lot of it's that they're new and they did get nerfed. So like holistically the faction's going to be worse because like most of their armies went up 100 points. But they haven't been like winning everything, right? Like they've been winning an above average amount, but it's not like every event has Ynnari in the top 3. So we'll see if it like continues to get worse. I don't know. Not Crusher Stampede Fexes. No, Carnifexes have an actual anti-synergy with Crusher Stampede, which is really weird. Which is that if you take more than one of them in a unit, including Old One Eye, they essentially don't benefit from the detachment ability. Which is really not great. And they don't have enough reliable attacks to be worth taking outside of Old One Eye. You might as well take a slightly more expensive, slightly more effective monster like a Haruspex or a Psychophage for the cost of a Carnifex. It's a weird data sheet. I mean, they're like probably going to get legended, to be perfectly honest. The kit's really old. And even though I have like 8 of them, I'll be sad, but like, I don't know what they do with that guy. They'll release a new version that's big and it's like Scrimmer Killer size, and it's going to be a whole thing, like in 11th edition or something. But like, if they clearly don't know what to do with them for the time being, they're hovering between the happy medium of in 9th edition the data sheet was like super pushed and kind of insane, and then like 10th edition they're like, oh, we can't do that again, so we have to go back to the 8th edition version where everything's like all of its numbers are low for no reason. Art of War guys think that Ynnari has the best army at the highest levels. Yeah, I also think that it's an army with like an almost infinite skill ceiling, because it has so much reaction that if you can set up for, like, you can set up for a situation where your opponent either gives you 5 points or you win the game, right? Because like if you kill this one Warp Spider, I'm gonna die or charge, or I'm gonna put a unit in shooting range, or I'm gonna take a different objective, and you can put yourself in a position where you have any one of those options available thanks to lethal intent. And so I think it's an army that's going to benefit from somebody who's really good, which means that its win rate might not be representative of how strong it is, but at the upper echelons it might be unstoppable. We'll see though. Who knows? Ynnari Incubi cannot ride into Wave Serpent. Right. You need a raider for them. That's basically what the FAQ said. It said that any of the Drukhari Ynnari stuff cannot go into the Azur-Yani transports. Only the Azur-Yani Ynnari stuff can, which is fair. And plus your brain and stuff. Lethal intent might be the single best rule in the game. Yeah, you might not be wrong. Not counting the Psychophage, this does negative damage. In Crusher Stampedes, I think that the Psychophage has a place. I'll go out on a limb for the old Psychophage. I think that guy is actually a little better than we give him credit for. He's like randomly devastating attacks and an okay gun, right? And his army support ability. Like you stick all those together, and he's relatively cheap, and you're like, all right, okay, I see it. I wouldn't spam him probably outside of assimilation, but I think he's better than taking a Carnifex. You know what I mean? Or like 1.3 Carnifexes or whatever the conversion rate is. You can't put the 10-man block with your brain in the Vice Arcana transport. Usually you don't want to, though, right? Because a lot of times you just want them to be out on the battlefield. You don't just. I think in all the Inari lists that I've seen, the 10-man brick doesn't ride into transport because it's gonna stage in the center and then lethal intent to the middle anyway. So you basically have like you can move 7. Agile maneuver, move 9, and then charge. So you have a 16 inch plus 2d6 threat range regardless. So your threat range is like super long anyway. Psychophage is like your battle line in Crusher. Maybe. Any way of making a Death Company detachment viable? Have I seen the list in the tournament? I have not. The only list out of Blood Angels I've seen in tournaments has been the either Liberator or the character one, Inheritors. I'm gonna give you my weird basement face cam for a little bit here, chat. You can battle tech in the lethal intent move too. Can you? Is that real? It's a selection trigger? I don't know, chat. Has it been ruled whether movement selection triggers are work out of phase like they do for shooting? Because they don't for fighting. Instructions unclear. Start your movement phase by selecting a unit? I don't know, chat. That feels like it might be out of phase. Seen it played by like that multiple times. Well, listen, chat. If another player plays a rule, then that makes it the way that makes it correct. No one's ever made a rules mistake before in their life. My viewer is all small now because I was looking at data sheets. Let's do that. Yeah, that's a weird one. Does it mean you can get martial katas in shooting? No. What? That says when they're selected to fight. You don't select to fight when you shoot. No, the weird thing is that like rules that trigger when you are selected are considered out of phase rules differently based on the kind of selection that they are. And that's just like a weird rules commentary thing. I don't know. I don't know if I want to go down a rules rabbit hole. Here, I'll tell you what, chat. We'll search the rules commentary for selected to make a normal move, and if it doesn't say anything, then I'm not going to get into it. I think that it sounds. I mean, Eldar players like reading the rules like really favorably in their favor. They get an advantage. Wild, never heard about that before. What's the wording it's used? It says it's selected to make a normal move. I guess also there could be an Aeldari thing on it for it. Oops, that's devoted. Selected to make. To make. I don't think it's been commentaried. The only reason that this is in a question is because they have ruled it two different ways on two different kinds of activations. What was I going to look up? Oh, Aeldari FAQ. No, they don't. They haven't said anything about it. Yeah, I don't know, champ. I think that feels like a very generous interpretation of the rules to me. Is all I'll say about that. I would assume that doesn't work that way, but I also it's also been ruled way different ways. Is each Alaris Terminator a new unit? Oh, for Unleash the Lions? They have a new starting strength. So I kind of imagine that they are. I feel like there's a commentary on that. That feels like something that would have been commented upon. Splitting units. Some abilities allow you to split units into 2 smaller units. Well, that doesn't help at all. That's super not even relevant. Okay. I don't know. I'll be honest, folks. I have no fucking idea if these are considered new units. It kind of seems like they are. Oh, it does say it literally says new units. Yeah, of course. Yeah, so they are new units. Here's a question. What happens if your opponent marks for death that unit and then you split it? Is there a ruling on that? I feel like they wanted to put this stratagem back in and they didn't really consider how it would actually work. I think the precedent would be that you had to destroy every individual unit. That's what it seems like to me. Fucking wild, dude. There's a Votan FAQ that talks about debuffs you get before a unit gets split. The Votan FAQ is like a whole can of worms because it directly contradicts rules as written in other cases. It's like a mess, unfortunately. Oh, not this isn't the... it's in Index FAQ, which is somewhere. It's in Index card. I can just search. There's a search function here I should be using. Yeah, like this is one of them. Can you select units and reserves using Ruthless Efficiency? Yeah. Oh, that's the answer is yes. I thought for a second I thought they said no. Oh, the Judgment Token one is like a direct contradiction to previous rules. An attached unit is not considered to be destroyed for the purposes of Ruthless Efficiency. So you would only trigger destruction effects after you kill all of the characters, which is like weird. I don't know. It's like it's a whole thing. Wouldn't mark for death be a persistent effect? Yeah, but I believe that persistent effects only have a specific call out for leaders. Maybe I'm wrong. Yeah, so it has a call out for attached units, but the assumption is that these aren't attached units because it's literally a non-attached unit behaving like an attached unit. But it doesn't have the same rules, right? It's like super weird. So I don't know. I think that the precedent would be that like for any thing that requires you to destroy the unit, you would have to destroy all of the individual components, which does make it like super funny counterplay, right? Where you're like your opponent's like, I'll demark for death and hold it, and you're like, okay, I'll split these guys and run one away. Get fucked. Which is like extremely silly. But I don't know. It's a new unit. Does that mean it left the battlefield? Maybe. Or maybe not. Maybe it just ceased existing. Who knows? Would it be a removed unit? I don't know. I have no idea. Probably worth an FAQ in at least our judgment document. It is weird because according to the rules as written, right, like the marked for death should score off destroying a bodyguard unit because the bodyguard unit is considered to be a separate unit from the character for the purposes of attached units. So when you for the purposes of effects that trigger when you're destroyed. So because marked for death. I think the rationale is that it doesn't specifically trigger when you're destroyed. It triggers slightly after the fact because it triggers like end of phase or whatever. But like really, like in other situations, they have ruled that those effects are would occur, but not in the case of marked for death or the ruthless sufficiency thing. That being said, it kind of stands to reason that these would act sort of like an attached unit in that way, but also they like explicitly aren't an attached unit, so you can't really carry over all of the precedent. I don't know. It's just a mess. Well, I'll think of something. March for Death is in the FAQ? Which FAQ? For Pariah Nexus? Did I miss it? I thought I had it open. Oh, I did. Marked for Death. You have to kill one of the attached units. Oh, right. But the question is, yeah, so that's not even the question, though, right? The question is, first of all, if you split, is the unit still the same unit, right? Is it still on the battlefield? And if it is still on the battlefield, how many of them do you have to kill for it to trigger the effect, the marked for death effect? It seems to me like, I guess the easiest result, the easiest interpretation is that the unit is no longer exists, right? The previous unit phases out of play and now no longer is on the battlefield, which means marked for death would trigger. That feels like it should work like that for attached units, but it doesn't, which is why it's like weird, but this is very different. So it makes sense to me. I also don't think it matters particularly. Yeah. So it's not that you killed the attached unit. It's that the unit like disappeared and became separate units without a characters involved at all. Yeah, I don't know. It feels, yeah. And that's also the easiest to rule. That's probably what I'll do. I need to update my FAQ document anyway, because there's a bunch of shit that's outdated in there. And I keep thinking about it and then forgetting. But if anybody has any FAQs they want me to add, fucking PM me, dude. Because I should go in and do a big update, big rules update for Discord events, for events in the Discord. You remove the unit and create new units, yeah. There's nothing else that triggers off removing from the battlefield, right? Like it's not destroyed. It's like explicitly not destroyed. Does it complete actions? Almost certainly not, right? Oh, weird. Anyway, chat, that's a funny can of worms. That's a funny rules discussion. Turns out turning one unit into many smaller units is always a weird thing when it comes to 40k's mechanics. I think I'm going to call this stream there, though. Unless we have anything else we want to discuss. I'm pretty excited about this, and I think that that's because I'm wildly biased in favor of Chaos Demons. So, sorry, everyone else. But yeah. I'm excited for all the new content we get to play around with. I'm excited Emperor's Children are now sort of in the ecosystem. But I think it's going to be great. Let me know how you feel, everybody, in the chat and stuff. Otherwise, I'm going to go ahead and pop off. I probably will not be live until next week. Curious to think how the matchup between Deathwatch and Ultramarines goes. It depends on the Ultramarine list. Deathwatch, I do feel like, has a little bit of a tough time with super heavy armor because their special issue ammo stratagems can only be in so many places at once. That's why we saw like Mark Hurdle at LVO tech really hard into killing armor. So he had like land speeders, thunder strikes and stuff in his army, and more Indomitor teams than I think most people would play. And so if it's like Gladius or like an Ironstorm build that's like focusing on like the 2+ armor save tanks, I think it could be a little tougher for Deathwatch. On the flip side, if it's infantry focused Marines, I think Deathwatch just win. They just outmaneuver you, and they're just faster than you. They're able to get lines of sight better than you. They're like tougher against a lot of the like they'll win a lot of the infantry fights with you. Their weapons have higher stats, and they're just going to kill you. Hey, Ryan G, thank you for the super chat, buddy.
Ryan
Can I build
G
a new
donated
demons list?
$1 through super chat.
We can build a new demons list. It's going to be kind of a mess, I guess, because it's not in the list builders, but we can figure it out. I think new recruit can handle multiple factions. I think we have to figure out. It's like, by the way, chat. Oh, on Friday. I'm sorry. I just said I wasn't going to be live, but I literally have a stream scheduled for Friday. I'm playing this list on Friday. It's got 3 Norn emissaries in it, so that's gonna be fun. We'll see how that goes. I'll yell at my terrible army ability. It's Crusher Stampede, because I've never played Crusher Stampede before, personally. It's double Hive Tyrant, 3 Norn emissaries. What could possibly go wrong? That's what I keep asking myself. Nothing is the answer that I keep coming up with. There's no way that this list isn't good. Right? I say, with perfect confidence. So I'll be playing that on Friday at 2 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time over on Twitch. It's on the, I believe it's on the schedule. You can already hear me yelling about like how fucking trash Shadow in the Warp is and how all my unit stats suck. So then we go with Army roster, Chaos Demons. Then we go Chaos Space Marines, add force, create list. Okay, we've done it. Then we go to down the Chaos Demons, close the Chaos Space Marine bit. We go configuration, hide all this shit because we don't use that. 2,000 points. Detachment doesn't matter. Hide all this shit. Okay. And then we go. Can we hide epic heroes? That would be really useful, actually. We go Bellicor. Is there a 50-point thing I can add just to eat the points? I don't think so. We go Bellicor, and I think we want gun guys, so we probably want Havocs. With laser beams. Laser beam guns. I wish this Reaper Chain Cannon had devastating wounds. That would make me so much happier. It's weird that it doesn't. You can take 2 Power Fists on this guy? What the fuck? On the Havoc Champion? What do Felgor Beastmen do? Are they good? No. They Strategic Reserve turn 1. We can just do that anyway. Alright. What else do we get access to? Not allowed to take Demon Princes. I know that. Bellicor doesn't like the other Demon Princes. I kind of want... Is this points value right for Bloodthirsters? For new Bloodthirsters? I thought they went to... I thought they were, like, more expensive than that. Are they really 300 currently? There's no way that they stayed 300, right? And now I can't find the Munitorum. Oh, I found it. Just kidding. We did it! Woo! Field manual says... 305. How much is Scarbrand? I thought he was the same. Maybe he's slightly more. 305. Holy shit. Okay. We're going to take Bloodthirsters because they advance in charge. So that's fucking sick. And they can just hang out and do stuff. With Big Axe. Bellicor has to be the Warlord. I like the idea of taking a Great and Clean one, but I don't know if we can fit it. The Scout Great and Clean one's like adorable, but I think it's like the time when you could put war bosses in infiltrating commando units, and it was like more adorable than it was good. I like the idea of Warp Talons as well, but we don't have any buffs for them. Oh no, we can lance them. Is that good, though? Probably not. They don't get advance in charge. I want a unit for the up-down. Do we play a Bloodthirster with the up-down enhancement? How many points is that? I literally just opened the Munitorum and then closed it and I can't find it anymore. Shadow Legion. That's Malice Made Manifest. 25 points. Okay. These enhancements are cheap, by the way. Jesus. That lets you play like a really aggro Bloodthirster who just hops every turn. That's fucking so cool. He hops end of your turn and then rapid ingresses. God, that sounds fun. Fuck me. Shit. That sounds so fun. Can you build it on the 40k app? But not on stream. Like, what am I? I don't have an emulator on my phone, and even if I do, I think I tried to make it work one time, or on my laptop. And even if I do, I tried to make it work one time, and it was like fucking up. Who do we put Scout enhancement on, chat? Just something silly. I think it might be Plague Bearers. I actually think Plague Bearers are kind of like goated. Oh, those are Plague Marines. We don't want those. So can't take those. Get out of here. Plague Bearers. Plague Bearers or maybe Legionaries. But I don't like Legionaries. I don't know if I want to play a Chaos Lord without access to the other thing. Oh god, you can pay SCP to make this Bloodthirster AP5 with +1 to wound. Fuck me. Ooh. I'm getting excited about this stupid list. Do I want 2 Bloodthirsters? Do I take 2 of them? Fuck. Do we take Scouting Beast of Nurgle? Maybe. Although I feel like Scouting Beast of Nurgle, because we can regenerate Tzeentch stuff, it feels like Scouting Beasts of Nurgle are maybe worse than Seekers. Or I guess they're different, right? They're better for holding objectives, but they're worse for secondary stuff. And Seekers are cheaper now, which is wild. I think we take 1 Fleshhound unit because they seem great. Fleshhounds are in Mount. No, they're in Beast. Because they just up down naturally, so we can get a little strategic reserver to do secondaries with without having to pay CP for it. I want. I think I want Plague Bearers. Because then if you go first, you can obsec the whole middle of the table in turn 1. So we need a Poxbringer, right? Who's the guy who gives you +1 to move? Is it the Sloppity Bile Piper? +1 move and reroll advances. Do we need that? And he forces battle shock checks at the start of the fight phase. I guess we do if we want to run away on turn 1. So we take a Sloppity Bile Piper with the Scout Enhancement and a Plague Bearer unit. And then we take... we need some stuff to hang out in the middle. So we take like a couple of Screamer units, and we take a Flamer Brick, maybe? Flamers with permanent -1 to be hit, and that can regenerate guys are actually like really obnoxious to kill. That unit's actually like super annoying, and it's also 20 points cheaper too. I think they went down, I think, to 65 points for 3, because their gun's terrible. And then maybe a Grid Unclean one, and that might be the list. I feel like I'm low on utility. Where's Guo? Where Guo? I missed him. Oh, it's because I'm in the wrong fucking section. God damn it. So we're up 50, 20, so that's 70, 75, and then down 15 plus 20, down 35. So we have another 65 points to spend, which is like Cultists or something. What can we get for 65? I kind of want Legionaries, but also, do I want Legionaries? Meh. We can take individual little characters to run around. Maybe just like actually a Poxbringer. We can't take the stupid Seeker Chariot anymore. Otherwise, I'd do that. Can we take how much is a single beast? Oh, 65. Perfect. Oh, I think we had 85. Oh, we could take one Legionary squad, actually. Just to have a unit that can, like, burn down a bunch of infantry without having to expose anything. Because we said we were 40 over, thanks to the changes. And those guys are 85, I think. Oh, they're 90. No! No! All right, it's Beast of Nurgle time. Beast of Nurgle it is. Oh, we have no Nurglings either. I think it's Nurglings, actually. I think we go like this. So we have infiltrators. So then we can prevent the people from blocking the Plague Bearer Scout. Right now it's triple Havocs, yeah. I kind of wanted like regular fucking infantry, but it's hard to fit them. The Chaos Space Marine infantry is much more expensive than the demon version. I love this Oh, I didn't pay for enhancements actually, so we might need to cut something. Maybe we cut one Havoc unit. Because we're taking at least 2 enhancements in this army. I don't know, maybe a Nurgle squad. Something like that is probably the way to go. Any thoughts of the Votann update? I think it's fine. It'll make Oathband more interesting. Or Hearthband more interesting, but it doesn't really change the Oathband lists at all, which is a little sad. So we could cut a Havoc for more like aggressive stuff. if we wanted to. I guess that's like less into the. We're focusing less on the big like annoying the big havoc units. I kind of wish we had a cheaper like Rites of Battle character or something. That would actually be kind of sick. Wait, is that worth it? Actually, let me think about that. Because we get our up down for free if we take a Chaos Lord, right? Is that worth what is likely to be like 3 or 4 CP over the course of the game? And then we also get a Nurgling unit back? And then also another Nurgling unit back? Wait, what did I drop? Oh, I dropped for enhancements. Yeah, okay. So we would need to free. Where did my enhancement points go? So we're taking the 20.1 and the 15.1. So we need to free. So we're 40 points on. We're 40 points down for new point values, and we're paying 35 points in enhancements. So we need to be 75 points down. So we're fine. This is the list. This was version 1 of the list, I guess, anyway. Oh, I closed my chat. Oops. Lord plus Legionnaires. I don't know if I want to play the Legionnaires like that, the Lord that aggressively, though. Like, it's a good combo, but there's no rhinos, so you can't, like, deliver them as effectively as you can normally. So I don't know how I feel about it. So like they're just ground pounding, and they have no mobility amps. It's just a move 6 ground pounding unit, which for 180 doesn't feel that great. You know what I mean? But like we get this dude, he can be like a Demon Hammer guy for late game, and he can give you a bunch of free strats early. Obviously, he's less good than he is with Legionnaires because he doesn't get rerolls, but he still seems okay. Just want to bring more Chaos Space Marines. Yeah, I think it's weird because, like, from the outset, the the Chaos Space Marine stuff that you do have access to doesn't really have any like bespoke synergy. And because you're missing a bunch of parts with the demon stuff anyway, and because you're missing a bunch of pieces of the Chaos Space Marine Codex, you you don't have like the same combos that you have access to in normal Chaos Space Marines. So like we could take more Raptors and stuff, I guess, but like I don't really know what they're doing that we couldn't just get in Fleshhounds or Screamers. They just feel like worse Screamers, to be honest. If they had any of the keywords, I think I would like them quite a bit. Chosen are kind of cute, I guess, because they at least like kind of deliver themselves, but you also don't buff them that much at all. So you might as well take Khorne units. I think it is just like you take guys with guns, and then the rest of the army is demons, because I think demons have better internal synergy. Yeah. Which is, I don't know, it feels fine. Like I think it's okay. I think it's okay that like Warp Talons is the only thing that's like really interesting because it doesn't do anything that units and demons do, which is like kill 5 dudes and then run away. But the problem is that it kills 5 dudes kind of inconsistently because it doesn't get +1 AP. So you're liable to be AOC'd out. You can give them Lance, which is really good because you can win on 2s reroll 1s. But maybe take like a 10-man, and then you have 2 units that can up down after the fighting, like based on what's happening. But they're so slow; they don't advance and charge. I don't know. So like we have Warp Talons. You could scout the Chosen. I mean, I guess so. You could also scout the Legionaries. Maybe that's what you're supposed to do. Maybe you're supposed to scout like 10 chosen into the middle with a Chaos Lord. Instead of the other thing. Bloodmaster uppy downy. Yeah, I like the Bloodmaster up down. I have it on a Bloodthirster right now, which is more expensive, but he's better at killing almost everything. Especially if you can get Bellicor in range to group and rerolls. And then he can hop around. The big benefit that he has is that he's much faster. And he has like he's a little bit more consistent just because he can he doesn't go through walls, I guess. So he's like of average speed when it comes to like maneuvering around walls, but that's a positional thing. But he also gets the end of phase stomp attack, so oftentimes he can ensure he gets kills end of phase anyway. Scout 9, yeah, we talked about the Great Unclean One scouting. I don't know if it does anything though, right? Like Great Unclean Ones are very rarely like this guy that you just wanted to like jump into your opponent's face early. Maybe you do. Maybe you like hand them. Maybe the game plan is that you hand them 4 Great Unclean Ones and one of them's like charging them on turn 1. I don't know. Is that good? It is hilarious. What would it look like if we scouted with Chosen? So it would be, we would probably swap over the Chaos Lord to the Chosen. We wouldn't take the synergy with the Havocs, which is kind of borderline anyway. I don't even know if that's good. And then we would take a 10-man Chosen unit. And we need to find like 180 points somewhere. Which is like... I don't really want to cut the Plague Bearers, because the Obsec is really nice. The CSM cultists don't do anything, right? Oh, do they? They don't Obsec. That is Jackals I'm thinking of. Oh, they do. Okay, so we can cut Plague Bearers for CSM cultists. Just kidding. So that saves us 60 points. Even though it's a worse unit. Maybe we just cut the Great Unclean One at that point. I don't know if I like this. You don't have like any... You're a lot squishier in the middle, because Havoc's Chosen will just fucking die. I also wonder if these Flamers should be a Burning Chariot. It feels so bad. The Burning Chariot's like so sad. But at least if he's -1 to hit, he's like kind of annoying to kill. That guy's too expensive. He should be like 90 something points. 115 is wild. Maybe we put... I think we would have to cut the Flamers probably, which I think is maybe not that bad anyway. They're just kind of an annoying unit, but they don't really do that much. And then we could add the Guo back in. And then the Guo can be a big obnoxious dude. This is very difficult to navigate. I keep forgetting which section I'm in. I get stuck. Great Unclean One. Where you at, buddy? Great Unclean One. Oop. And then we have like 20 points left in this list. Or something like that. Yeah, that's probably pretty close. So we cut Flamers. And we pared down the Plague Bearer unit to get the Chosen in there. And then we have like a big punchy melee unit in the middle. That's not too bad, right? That's probably fine. Just pink horrors with -1 to be hit? Yeah, that's also good. They're expensive though, 140. So we could do 10 pink horror models at T3 that split versus 6 flamers at T4 with 18 wounds. I imagine that the survivability is not super dissimilar, and the flamers are cheaper now. Although the pink cores are more annoying if you don't have... It's like a stat check, right? So this is another version. If we want to play more melee-oriented. I don't know about... Are we going to find a place for 10 Chosen to hide in the middle of the table, though? I have a sneaking suspicion they get stuck. This unit feels like I mean, it lances. Like, it's a damage output's probably pretty good. It's not as good as corn stuff, though. So the weird part is, like, all the stratagems have extra effects when they target demon stuff. So you're really disincentivized from taking these things. From taking Chaos Space Marines. Like, we're spending 340 points on a chosen unit that scouts, but we could be getting either the Bloodmaster unit or a Blood Crusher unit, which would get the scout, like, do kind of a similar thing, but also gets advance and charge, like, baked in, and also can get the full effect of the Lance strat. And, like, Bloodletters are 110? Is that still true? I feel like I guess they got side graded. Why do I keep putting my Munitorum? Bloodletters are still 110. Not getting wound rerolls, though, is, like, so awkward. But I guess they do, like, die on the crackback immediately. But they also are, like, 200 points cheaper, so... I don't know. How long before New Recruit is updated? It usually takes a couple days. It'll be a while. Full frontal assault with possessed blocks and great unclean ones. Yeah, I wonder if this is the detachment for, like, a style of bird flu. All right, here's Shadow Legion version 1. I liked the other version with the grid and clean one better, I think. So cut this guy, cut these guys. Put that Chaos Lord back in. I like the free up down on the Chaos Lord unit. He does attach to Havocs, right? Am I crazy? Imagine, like, me talking about this combo for the entire time and then being totally wrong. Where does it say where he can attach to? I thought they had a cutout for that. Oh no, he can't! Chat! We gotta cut him. I did talk for a while about how useful I think that would be and only for it not to be legal at all. Shit! Fuck you, Chaos Space Marines. Why is your Codex so dumb? God damn it. Good thing I checked, though. That would have been awkward to leave in there. Right. But it's like, do we want the Bloodmaster? Like, do we want that enhancement on the Bloodmaster unit or on the Bloodthirster, which is going to have, like, I guess it doesn't have quite as many attacks, but its attacks are way better, right? Like, I think it will much more consistently kill a bunch of guys. All right, I'm just going to put all these Havocs back in. Fuck it. And the Flamers. I had the Plague Bearer brick initially. And then I had a Bile Piper. And something. There was something else in here. I don't remember. That's close enough. But then we want to rebuild it. And we build it's Chaos Space Marines. Add and Demons. Add. And we call it Flu Legion. I don't know. I can't think of a pun right now. I'm too tired, apparently. So it's Bellicor. Let's hide all their shit. Bellicor, Well, we can't do all the greater demons, all the great and clean ones anymore, because people will just kill them. Maybe I'm over this great and clean one thing. The problem is if you go like all greater demons, right? So you go like, or all great and clean ones, excuse me. So you go like raw. Oh, you can't take Rodigus. So it's like 3 Guos in Bellicor. If you take any other characters, then you give up Max Assassinate, and everything's fucking ruined. But even so, people take 60 on Assassinate most days. And you're just like relying on great and clean ones to be hard to kill. Like, I don't know. So you could do something like this, where you get Havocs in the back, and then you just like frontline great and clean ones. But I'm worried about the bring it down score. It's always the tension with Chaos Demons, it feels like. Any idea how to rebuild a bridgehead detachment now? Yeah, I don't know. I think you play Mechanized Assault. I think you take all the things you took in Bridgehead Strike and you play Mechanized Assault instead. Is God's honest truth. I think that they took that detachment out of the back and shot it. I don't know. Want to take the Slanesh Greater Demon? Why not, chat? Bridgehead has to cut Scions in half and run more Dorn commanders. Maybe, but like, is it even worth like trying to make Scions work in this detachment? It just feels so bad. I don't know. But you can play like the Torox thing. Like just play Torox combos in Mechanized Assault, and I think it is basically the same detachment, but it just like instead of spending CP on dropping your dudes around, you spend points on having Toroxes. And that detachment seems like it's fine. I do think that they nerfed it too hard, though. I think they should have picked between nerfing Scions and nerfing Bridgehead, like in a couple different ways. But they nerfed Bridgehead like 3 different ways and nerfed Scions, and I think that's like the triple tap. It's too strong, like too much. I'll cook on this list, chat. I'll try to play some games if I can. I'm excited about it, but I'm also excited about playing Bloodthirsters again, just in general. I think that's fun and cool. Oh, great on clean ones with reroll once they hit, chat. We're gonna generate some lethal hits. They're strength 10. You stack them, they should become like strength 12, strength 13. Fuck me, I'm psyched. This data sheet's looking so good. Oh wait, he got +1 damage on his sword too. I didn't even catch that. Fuck. What? What the fuck is this model now? Are you kidding me? He's so good. He got extra damage, extra toughness, and extra strength, and better synergy. Fuck me. All right. Well, we're playing Nurgle, I guess now. We're a Nurgle player. Hammer of the Emperor is going to be real good. That'd be cool. For sure. I think there's a lot of interesting stuff in this attachment. Oh, chat. I'm fading, though. I think I'm going to go ahead and call it, folks. There was a good discussion about this whole list. Next stream, I should be back in the actual studio. So I'm probably leaving tomorrow morning to go head on back. So I'll talk to you when I'm over there. So with that, I'll go ahead and leave you with a chat. Let me know down in the comments how excited you are about this update. Thanks for watching all the way to the end, if you did, and thanks as well for the folks who are who are hanging out, chilling in the chat with me. And otherwise, I will see you on Friday over on Twitch, and then next week for regularly scheduled stuff. Yeah, I think this update was generally pretty good, except for The Munitorum stuff and the Space Marine stuff, I don't think that was very great, but the other stuff all seems okay. I wish they did more stuff for, like, Sisters feels like it was a little bit of a little weak. I don't know, a little weak sauce. And Votan feels like they could have done more, but we'll see. All right, chat, that's it for me. Thanks, everyone. Cheers.